Less than 24 hours ago, the Athens Rock Lobsters clawed their way through 65 minutes of hockey, but came up just short in the shootout. Now, with a quick turnaround, they have one more chance to sink the Prowlers before heading home. Good afternoon, Crustacean Nation, and welcome back to McMorran Arena for the series finale between the Port Huron Prowlers and your Athens Rock Lobsters. I'm Mattine Rad, bringing you the action live on the Athens Rock Lobster Network. Be sure to hit subscribe, like the stream, and ring the bell so you never miss a moment of Rock Lobsters hockey. The Piedmont Athens Regional Pregame Show sets the stage for a rematch, and revenge is on the minds of the Rock Lobsters. Last night, Athens fought back from an early deficit with goals from Garrett Milan and Orca Weisblatt, but Port Huron kept pace, tying the game in the third. Overtime solved nothing, and the shootout belonged to the Prowlers as Austin Federley scored the lone goal while Reed Cooper shut down all three Athens shooters. It was a frustrating finish for the Rock Lobsters, but as you see with the standings here, they still picked up a point and have an opportunity to respond this afternoon. Athens remains firmly in second place in the league, but every game matters as they push towards playoff positioning and looking for the top of the Continental Division. Carolina clinched firmly last night. Believe they were already in with the tiebreaker over Monroe, but now that is confirmed. Carolina have secured their playoff spot. Meanwhile, Port Huron, a team fighting to make sure that they don't have to worry about a play-in game in the Empire Division race. They're feeling confident after last night's win. They'll look to close out the weekend with another upset victory. Now we'll highlight our fan saves impact players of the game. For the Prowlers, look no further than Lucas Lackney. The Slovakian scored the 2 goals for Port Huron in last night's game and remains on a red-hot 7-game point streak. For the Rock Lobsters, they look at Philip Virgili, the Swedish forward, coming off a 1-game suspension from Friday's game, and it felt like the Rock Lobsters were missing his vision and his speed. He's also been Steve Martinson's go-to guy in the shootout this campaign, so they were missing his killer instinct in sudden death as well. The FanSaves Impact Player segment is brought to you by FanSaves. Download the FanSaves app now and follow the Athens Rock Lobsters for exclusive digital coupons. Now we'll take a look at the starting lineup deployed by head coach Steve Martinson with tonight's Aikens Ford engine starters. Head coach Steve Martinson is going back to Josh Rosenswag in net. He's coming off a win on Friday night against the Motor City Rockers. We'll take a look also at the potential lines for the Port Huron Prowlers in this game. Starting 5. In terms of skaters for head coach Steve Martinson will be new defenseman Adam Oja will start alongside Kyle Russell. The forward line is going to be Garrett Milan, Daniil Glukarioff, and Orca Weisblatt. The team physician provided by Piedmont Athens Regional is Dr. Alec Graff. The Athens Rock Lobsters starting lineup is brought to you by Aikens Ford. If you're going to make a deal on a new Ford truck, why not deal with Georgia's biggest and best Ford dealership? That wraps up our Piedmont Athens Regional Pregame Show. Piedmont, real change lives here. The Rock Lobsters, they're eyeing a payback. Puck drop is moments away. Stay with us here on the Athens Rock Lobster Network. UGA football player Amarius Mims suffered a serious injury. The quality care from the Piedmont team changed his life.
As a football player, my body is everything to me. When I got injured, I was worried about my
future in the game. But you and your team's expertise, care, and support reassured me from the start. I've been able to recover because of the quality care I received at Piedmont, and I am back playing at my full potential on the field. I can't thank you enough for what you've done for me, my family, and my future. Your help means the world to me, and I'll always be grateful for your part in keeping my dreams alive. How you doing?
Well, I didn't know you were going to be here.
Yes, sir.
I'm so proud of you. So happy for you. It gives me joy to see you out there on the field doing your thing.
You look good.
Appreciate you.
It's a good-looking ankle.
I'm trying to tell you.
Now, come the Rock Lobsters onto the ice, led by Josh Rosenzweig. It was an exciting night in the FPHL last night. The Rock Lobsters would have hoped that it also included an Athens win. Unfortunately, it didn't, but some very, very interesting results. We saw the Mississippi Seawolves take down the Baton Rouge Zydeco, but if you want to talk about an underdog win, how about the Blue Ridge Bobcats ending an 18-game winning streak against the Binghamton Black Bears? Wow, a big, big result for the team that is currently top in terms of points among all teams in the FPHL, taken down by the Blue Ridge Bobcats. Blue Ridge might be that team to watch out for in the playoffs, the underdog who just doesn't care about who they're going against. We saw them take 2 wins off of the Athens Rock Lobsters a couple of weeks ago. Can they continue to do that against the league's very best? Will be interesting if they can when the Commissioner's Cup playoffs come rolling around. Right now, the Rock Lobsters are in line to go up against their in-state foe, the Columbus River Dragons, against the 3rd seed, 2 seed against the 3rd seed. But, of course, still eyeing that number 1 spot, hoping for more dropped points from the Carolina Thunderbirds. The Rock Lobsters were in line to potentially clinch the playoffs this weekend, but they needed wins in all 3 games and also needed at least a loss from Monroe against the Dashers. The Dashers' historic losing streak keeps going on, and right now the Rock Lobsters need 6 more points in their remaining 14 games. So potentially a win tonight and then a win next Friday in Baton Rouge. That would secure playoffs for the Rock Lobsters, but it feels likely that next weekend is where we're spotting the Rock Lobsters to clinch playoffs. Tonight's foe, the Port Huron Prowlers, getting their first win against the Rock Lobsters this season. They visited Athens Rock Arena back in mid-December and fell both times in those games. Very, very excited to see Philip Virgili back on the ice. Of course, he was suspended for the first game of the series for actions in Friday night's game. Now we have the national anthem. Stay tuned with us here.
Anthem singer is you, the fans. All start off. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
That does it for the national anthem in McMorran Arena. The Rock Lobsters against the Port Huron Prowlers, moments away from puck drop. If you're just joining us and also didn't tune in to us last night, the Athens Rock Lobsters battled but fell 3-2 in a shootout to the Prowlers on this very ice on Saturday night in McMorran Arena. Athens trailed early after Lucas Lackney struck just 1 minute and 36 seconds into the game, but Garrett Milan tied it with a wrister. Orca Weisblatt put Athens ahead on a 5-on-3 power play. But Lackney's second of the night on a Port Huron man advantage forced overtime. Austin Federley scored the lone shootout goal, while Reed Cooper, who played a big part in that win, stopped all 3 Athens attempts. However, both head coaches will go to a new goaltender tonight. Valtteri Nusiainen, who's been the number 1 for the Prowlers all season long, goes up against Josh Rosenzweig. Rosenzweig, his save percentage getting up to 92.4%. And what a game he had Friday night against Motor City. 21 saves on 22 shots. He had a good goaltender performance too, but he got in on the offense as well. Almost got that rare goalie goal with the Motor City empty net. hit the post, ended up logging a secondary assist instead on Garrett Millan's 30th goal of the year, the empty netter. The officials gathering around center ice, just moments away here from getting started. Port Huron Prowlers wearing their Stand Up to Cancer jerseys last night. They go back to their reds tonight. And thank goodness those pink numbers on the back of the jerseys were quite difficult to read, so a welcome change in terms of apparel. William Lavalier was the unfortunate losing goaltender last night. That is his first loss in a Rock Lobster jersey. Weisblatt, Millan, Glukaryov, Russell, and Ozia, the starting five. Already jousting here between a couple players right at the bottom of your screen. Luke James and Weisblatt getting tied up. Face-off is won by the Prowlers. They enter the zone early on here looking for another early goal just like they got last night. Offside called against Port Huron. An early stop to the clock. Face-off will creep right into the neutral zone. Another face-off between Garrett Millan and Jamie Bucell. Looks like there's a slight problem going on. Steve Martinson getting some sort of explanation from the referee. It sounds like there's some sort of issue with the starting lineup. It sounds like the Rock Lobsters deployed a different starting lineup than they said they were going to. And so the Rock Lobsters will go on the Leslie Jones Law penalty kill. It sounds like Carter Shinkarik was listed on the starting lineup instead of Garrett Millan, and because of that, they will have to take a penalty. Difficult start to this game. The Prowlers making it known to the referees that that was not the starting lineup that they were expecting, and an early power play for the Prowlers. Shinkarik tries to backhand bat it away and is able to all the way down and handled by Nusiainen. Very, very good Finnish goaltender. If he can win his 16th game of the season today, he will put himself firmly in third place among all-time Port Huron goaltenders in terms of single-season wins. Prowlers looked very, very uncomfortable on the power play yesterday. They whistle it around. The inboard's picked up by Millette from the left side. His pass is a loose one, and that'll invite pressure from the Rock Lobsters in the Prowlers zone. For those of you just joining us, an early Port Huron power play after the starting lineup that was deployed out onto the ice was not what was read on the forms that have to be signed by head coach Steve Martinson. But could something happen shorthanded the other way for the Rock Lobsters? Good poke in defensively there on Glukaryov will prevent him from logging any shot on goal against Nusiainen. Bucell with a chance. Pad save from Rosenswag. Spills in behind. Glukaryov sends it the length of the ice. Half a minute left on this Port Huron man advantage. The Rock Lobsters, after taking that early penalty, will have to battle a man down for 20 more seconds now. Again, the zone entries, just like yesterday, not looking comfortable from the Prowlers, despite having a man up. They turn the puck over almost in their own zone. Good pressing there from Johnson, making life uncomfortable for the Prowlers. They might have one more rush here, a little 2-on-1. How about the defensive play there from Kyle Russell to stuff it out? And that sends the Rock Lobsters the other way. Brandon Picard fresh out the box, but it's saved from Nusiainen into the glass. Good spring to the Rock Lobsters step right as the penalty kill ends. Good pressure. That one takes a piece of Nusiainen. Milan lays the hit, but batted away from the Prowlers. Flipped to the near side of the ice. Kyle Russell, who started this matchup, sends it in deep. Nusiainen gets a piece, but not much more than that. Rock Lobsters let it run into neutral ground. Looks like we've got a stoppage in play here. It's Ludwig Thelstrom who took a hit from Daniil Glukaryov in the corner. Prowlers wanted a penalty and not going to get one. We'll do the face-off right on top of the Prowlers logo in the middle of McMorran Arena, along 805 miles away from Aikens Ford. Milan against Graham, the two veterans of this team. Milan wins the draw. Shinkarik sweeps it up the right side all the way around. Batted away initially by Lockhart. Rock Lobsters keep it in, but only temporarily. Jousted for it. Center ice. Good defensive play with a stick. Taking it towards the net. Is Lackney looking to make an impact once again. Good save from Rosenzweig to stomp out that fire. Prowlers will have the offensive zone draw. Already an early power play for them, but couldn't really cook anything up. Just one shot on goal for them in this game thus far. Stiles wins the faceoff, puts it into the corner. Kolatarsi playing defense here with Kyle Powell. Kolatarsi shifting his weight towards the right leg to keep that puck where it is. Springs free for the Prowlers. Prow pokes it ahead. Kyle Powell, a big man at 6'6" out of British Columbia, has played 3 games in the ECHL this year with the Utah Grizzlies, part of the Colorado Avalanche organization. Icing goes against the Prowlers. They iced the puck quite a bit last night. Didn't end up changing the narrative all too much. Here comes Philip Virgili out on the ice, back centering Johnson and Gallant. Of course, Virgili and Gallant have been one of the most dynamic partnerships in the FPHL this year. Good face-off win from the Swede. Gavrilovic tries to poke it into a dangerous position. He steps up here to try and make the hit. Quick turnaround one-timer from Kaysen Gallant goes wide of the mark. Someone has lost their stick. Johnson comes away with the puck. Sent back up the near side. Gallant able to find Gavrilovic. Another European connection on this Rock Lobster team. Malik Johnson has the stick shattered in his hands. A little shrug from him. Kaysen Gallant takes it in. No offside called, and that one's off the bar. Good hit from Virgili at the line. Puck drops back for Shinkarik. Shinkarik, spring in his step. Has to battle that stick, and it's reminiscent of last night where we saw a ton of broken sticks out on the ice at one time. Opportunity arising for the Prowlers in the other direction. Tight angle shot from Federley. He ended up being the game winner last night, but can't find Rosenzweig, a new goaltender for him to face, and Rosenzweig able to make the save. Shots on goal even at 3 apiece through the first 4+ minutes here. Matt Graham on the faceoff once again. He wins it. the general manager, head coach, and player for this Port Huron team. Stopped at the line by Parsons. Shot saved by Rosenzweig. Glukarioff trying to transition defense into offense. Russell takes the banker, pokes it into the zone. Want to take a quick second to thank the watch party for tuning in today at Terrapin Tap Room. Hope you're enjoying a Clawshank redemption as the Rock Lobsters look for some Clawshank redemption here. A whiff on that shot from Lucas Lackney. So close to making it 3 goals over 2 games for him. On the other side, Russell prompts the save from Nusiainen. It is feeling more like the pace of a tennis match here and how we have to crane our necks from left to right to see the action as it springs from right to left to right. Good pass from Glukarioff. Weisblatt's pass gets locked out. Adam Oja can't find an option. Good toe drag from Reggie Millette, but then he takes a spill right on the faceoff circle. Russell out to the left. Sent long by Daniil Glukariev. Stopped at the red line. Good little meander there from Joel Frazee. He misses the target. Letting that one run is Braden Simmons-Fisher. Hot on his tail is Brendan Ronan. An interesting story is Simmons-Fisher. As we see a stoppage in play here at 13:57 to go in the first period. Simmons-Fisher, his father, Yuri Fisher, was an international for Czechia and logged 300 NHL games for the Red Wings. He's now the director of player personnel for Detroit. Looks like the Rock Lobsters going to a power play here. We'll get you more information on that after this commercial break.
Meet our professional team, where the best customer service is our promise. With over 5 decades of expertise, trust Stanfield to keep you comfortable. Schedule online at stanfieldair.com.
Classic City Flats is a brand new apartment community in Athens, Georgia that redefines luxury living, offering a sleek and contemporary living experience. Our impeccably designed apartment homes boast sophisticated interiors, premium amenities, and exquisite finishes, providing residents with an unparalleled downtown living experience. Classic City Flats is excited to deliver luxury apartments that set the new standard of sophisticated living in Athens, Georgia. Classic City Flats, redefining your horizon of living. There's only one place you can deck yourself out and represent Athens' first ever pro hockey team, the Rock Lobsters. Head to shop.rocklobstershockey.com to get your hats, shirts, and even jerseys now. We saw a Prowlers power play to start this game, and now the Rock Lobsters go to the quadruple P after the delay of game from the Prowlers. Milan with a clean face-off win. Virgili back on the power play unit after serving his suspension. Gallant taking a spot on the left side. Virgili just a couple steps off the blue line, finds the quarterback, Captain Carter Shinkarik. Deflects out wide to the left after Shinkarik's shot. Virgili staples it to the corner, comes free for Gallant. Shinkarik at the line, always looking for Milan. Milan returning the favor. Like a springed coil waiting to pop is Milan, finding Shinkarik, right circle, good passing around. Johnson over to Gallant. Milan shatters the stick. Has to try and play defense without a twig. He gets one right back at the bench. Luckily, that transition from the Prowlers didn't transition to any offense for them. Already 50 seconds gone on the man advantage for the quadruple P. Gallant, good move at the line, drops back for Johnson, stopped at the boards by Milan. Sent back to him by Johnson. Back at the line for Shinkarik. No look pass, Milan to the right. Johnson tries to stop it with a skate, rather that's for Geely. To the right of Nusiainen's net. Whistled around, but out of the offensive zone for the Rock Lobsters. 40 seconds to go in the man advantage. Virgili enters the zone. Kolatarsi pokes it deeper in. Virgili chasing it around. Stopped by Oja at the line. Long-range shot. Nusiainen makes the save. Scandinavian on Scandinavian there as the Finn is able to save the shot by the big man Swede. Sent into the near side corner. Good penalty kill thus far for the Prowlers. And nothing cooking for the Rock Lobsters on the power play. Both teams back at even strength. Still a glimmer of opportunity for the Rock Lobsters. Good move in the left circle. Backhanded shot to Neil Glukarioff, and Nusiainen with a save. We call him Danny Dangles for a reason. He has shown those kinds of dekes and moves ever since he has fully transitioned to the North American game. A while he sat on 0 points for the Rock Lobsters, but now 15 goals and 11 assists. He has truly exploded in his level as of late. Hunter Alden out on the ice with Dion Demke and Brendan Ronan. Alden jousting for the faceoff, but it's popped out of the zone by the Prowlers. Kyle Powell out to the right side. One-time pass from Ronan towards Alden. Gets a piece of it and spills out into the glove of Nusiainen. Rock Lobster chat here on the Rock Lobster Network has made a lot of just how due Hunter Alden is, looking for his first goal in Athens colors. Alden wins the faceoff, but it's overskated on the left side, and the Prowlers making something happen the other way. Millette with a shot that gets swallowed up by Rosie. Chance here to thank some of our friends of the show. Athens Area Urology. You're in good hands with Athens Area Urology. Plumber Pro, Hospitality South, Athens Coca-Cola Bottling Company, Classic City Flats, Harmon Enterprises, and Roto Rooter. Alden very, very good in the face-off circle. Kolatarsi able to get it out. Finds Ronan on the left side. Pokes it in. Dion Demke gets edged out, but it falls back for Alden. Sends it towards the line. Kolatarsi with a shot. Nusiainen watches it high, and it's out of play. We're going to a commercial break. Stay tuned with us here on the Athens Rock Lobster Network. And it looks like actually they're just making some couple changes. That gives us a chance to talk briefly about season tickets. Make sure you register your interest in season tickets today. Go over to rocklobstershockey.com, either renewing or getting in on the action. Pass rides the line. Gavrilovic sends it in towards the trapezoid. Picked up by Johnson. Out of the corner. Trying to breeze through 2 men on him like a saloon door. Casey Gallant using his skate to get in on it. Virgili bats it out. Grabbed by the glove of Johnson. Virgili gets it free. But back towards the center of the ice, towards Gavrilovic. Send it back in where it came from. Rosenzweig requesting the icing call, and he'll have it granted toward him. Face-off will get taken back the length of the ice. There's that man, Hunter Alden. Someone in the chat the other day very accurately described him as somebody who does all the small things right. He wins another face-off, and that prompts the shot from Kolatarsi and another glove save from Nusiainen, who's quickly becoming the busier goaltender in this first period, now having made 9 saves. The Prowlers will send out a new 5. Alden stays on the ice. Alden wins it again. The shot from Powell goes Powell off of a shin into the corner. Alden using his frame. A lot of bark in that dog. Kolatarsi wins that foot race, whistles it around. Alden's there to stop it. Good pass, just evading Brendan Ronan. Brendan Ronan able to get back on the score sheet last night. Logged an assist Saturday. Powell's pass gets cut out. Still on side there is Lucas Lackney, trying to make the Rock Lobsters pay once again. Lockhart picked up in the trapezoid by Millette. Tried the turnaround shot, but Millette still has it. Millette going around the world, sending a shot just wide on Rosenzweig. Good amount of pressure being applied here by the Prowlers. Just past the halfway mark of the first period. Brendan Ronan gets caught out. Best fluidity from the Prowlers in this first period thus far. Taking a spill while shooting that one was Alex Johnson. Danger still here for the Rock Lobsters. Lucas Lackney with a creative backhander to the right of Rosenzweig. That went up into the netting. And time will stop at the 9:07 mark. We're going to a commercial break, still scoreless, but the shots on goal growing more towards the Rock Lobsters for the Port Huron perspective. We'll be back after this commercial break. Farmburger is defined by its mission, its farms, its team, and its family. In 2008, our co-founders gathered around a single idea: redefine the burger by bringing together a community of ranchers, farmers, chefs, restaurateurs, and eaters. Our promise is to strive every day and with every burger to uphold these core values to each and every one of you. We do that by holding ourselves to a higher standard. Grass-fed and grass-finished, that means our cattle are never fed grain. Our belief feeds our mission, and our mission is to feed you.
Since 1968, we've been your trusted source for home comfort. From then to now, we've evolved, but our commitment to your comfort remains unchanged. Experience the expertise that only decades of dedicated service can provide. Trust Stanfield. We've been keeping homes comfortable for over 50 years. Your comfort, our legacy. Schedule online at stanfieldair.com.
Getting back towards the action, 9:06 remains in the first period. Shots on goal in favor of the Rock Lobsters 9-7, but that is starting to change towards this part of the period. A really good couple minutes from the Prowlers. Rock Lobsters trying to take back the momentum in this one. Russell has it come free for DeCumbus. Oh, a wrister that is wicked there, and the Prowlers have their goal down to a knee. Alex Johnson, who registers his 300th point of his career. The Prowlers were on the prowl for the opening goal once again, and they have it for the second straight night. It's Port Huron who takes the 1-0 lead. Port Huron with a face-off win right after scoring the opening goal. Alex Johnson with his 16th of the year. Him and Shinkarik are two of the best offensive defensemen that this league have to offer. Gallant tries to float it out, stopped at the zone there by Millette. Shinkarik looking for the banker. The path outside the defensive zone is there, but the Rock Lobsters unable to transition defense into offense. Good turnover force there by Gallant. Looking for the partner of his dynamic duo, Philip Virgili. Is not able to get it toward the Swede, unfortunately. Shinkarik. Nice little pivot at the line. Had a teammate enter a little bit early on him, sends it in instead of trying to look for the pass and creating the offside whistle. Change for Athens. In behind once again against the Prowlers. They didn't let them scare them last night. And Picard looking to even things up against his former team. James gets edged out. Tight angle shot. Rosenzweig makes it look easy as he hugs the post. Ronan into the corner. Picard with a hit in behind on Parsons. Off the stick and into the bench there. Talking about last night's game, the Rock Lobsters found themselves 1-0 behind in that contest as well. They showed no fear, though, and were able to get themselves out in front 2-1. Goals from Garrett Milan and Orca Weisblatt. But it was what would have been the game-winning goal from Weisblatt that came on the 5-on-3 power play. Rock Lobsters trying to generate a little bit more here, 5-on-5. They have their starting unit out here, Glukaryov. Glukaryov playing a little bit of defense. Here he is again on the puck. Right back towards Ozha. Adam Ozha, 28-year-old, last played with the Quad City Storm in the SPHL. Pro experience in his native Sweden as well as Norway. The long-range dump in right into the glove of Nusiainen and Garrett Milan. Wanting a penalty in a chat there with the captain, Austin Federley. Milan started to swing the claws a little bit there. Milan and Federley still getting into it. Meanwhile, behind them is Glukaryov and Parsons. Looks like Glukaryov is taking the trip toward the sin bin. And now Weisblatt's the one that's getting himself in the mix. Bucell and Parsons, and now Bucell swinging a punch at Weisblatt without dropping the glove. Right now, one Prowler's going into the box. Glukaryov's already there. Looks like Bucell is going to be joining. Is it Parsons that's in there with him? It looks like it. Explanation will go toward the coaches as we try to figure out what needs to be ironed out here. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, is there a Rock Lobster power play upcoming? UGA football player Amarius Mims suffered a serious injury. The quality care from the Piedmont team changed his life.
As a football player, my body is everything to me. When I got injured, I was worried about
my future in the game, but you and your team's expertise, care, and support reassured me from the start. I've been able to recover because of the quality care I received at Piedmont, and I am back playing at my full potential on the field. I can't thank you enough for what you've done for me, my family, and my future. Your help means the world to me, and I'll always be grateful for your part in keeping my dreams alive. How you doing?
Well, I didn't know you were going to be here.
Yes, sir.
I'm so proud of you. So happy for you. It gives me joy to see you out there on the field doing your thing.
You look good.
Appreciate you.
It's a good-looking ankle.
I'm trying to tell you.
Things heating up in McMorran Arena, and they have taken Orca Weisblatt into the box along with Daniil Glukaryov. So it looks like that potential power play will not happen for the Rock Lobsters. How about that? Head coach Steve Martinson getting into it with the Prowlers personnel. Not the head coach for Port Huron. Matt Graham is the one that wears the jersey and also is the head coach for the team. No, I believe that's actually Chris Paulin, who's the player personnel in the suit behind the Prowlers bench. So it looks like we're staying 5-on-5 here. 6:40 to go in the first period. The Prowlers are up on the visiting team after the goal from Alex Johnson. Virgili in on the draw. Malik Johnson trying to shake the gloves loose, and here we go. Johnson and the head coach for the Prowlers, Matt Graham. Right now, Graham looks more intent on hugging Johnson than trying to throw any punches. Johnson doesn't want it to be a cuddle party. Johnson trying to throw some punches. Down on his backside goes Matt Graham, and Johnson still throwing. Almost the two Johnsons came together after Malik took care of business. Malik Johnson prompting a response out of his own bench. Apparently there's a funny yet confusing incident on the ice right now. They're trying to figure out whose gloves are whose because both teams wearing red gloves tonight. Johnson and Graham both in the box. Malik Johnson dropping the claws with Matt Graham. Matt Graham, one of the most veteran players of this league. 35-year-old general manager, head coach, and player. It feels like we just took some time to try and iron out penalties. We're back to where we started after the gloves were dropped between Johnson and Graham. We'll see if there's going to be an instigator call. It felt like both players started coming at each other, and a wrestling match quickly turned into a boxing match. For those of you just joining us, it's the Port Huron Prowlers that have the 1-0 lead. Alex Johnson from Decumbus and Bucelle at the 11-12 mark. Looks like we got some things to find out here. And it looks like Malik Johnson is going to be escorted back to the Rock Lobster locker room. My question is, if Matt Graham gets kicked out of this game, he goes back to the locker room, can he, as head coach, then come back to the bench? Some Prowlers need to stand up in the Port Huron penalty box, running out of room in there. Let's see if there's any update on the federalhockey.com website to see what's going to go on here. Alex Johnson, I feel, has been incorrectly given a fighting major. Him and Johnson, Malik Johnson that is, were barking at each other after Graham and Johnson had dropped the gloves. Right now, all it says is fighting majors for both Malik Johnson and Alex Johnson. Maybe they're mixing up Johnsons as they're scoring the game over there. Carrie M asking who just got escorted off the ice. That was indeed Malik Johnson. Dropped the gloves from his wrist and then took down Matt Graham in the fight. I think referees still deciding what the calls are here because they haven't been updated on the federalhockey.com website, at least not from a perspective of why Malik Johnson would be escorted off the ice. Looks like we're still staying at 5-on-5. Prowlers win the faceoff, but possession stays with them only temporarily. Sent up the right side. Intercepted by Millette. Ludwig Thelstrom, who's back in the game after he took a spill on a hit from Daniil Glukaryov earlier on. Millette, good puck handler, sends one looking for the route ran right on Rosenzweig's cage. Running that route was Joel Frazee. Millette in the corner in a sword fight with Brandon Picard. Swept away by Gavrilovich. Shot from the boards comes right at Rosenzweig, and he gets it right in the gut. And it looks like it's going to be a game of misconduct for Malik Johnson, who gets the game misconduct for being the aggressor. So that is a 10-minute penalty for Malik. Port Huron tries to lay a big hit on Colatarsi on the far side. Kyle Russell, knowing that Nusiainen was outside the crease, tried to test him just a little bit wide of the mark. Colatarsi with a big hit in the end boards. Game starting to get much more physical in Port Huron. Prowlers turn it over in their own zone. Garrett Milan with a U-turn. Passes it off. Oja towards Russell. Right now the Rock Lobsters trying everything they can to challenge the Finn in the Port Huron net. But Nusiainen has been relatively untroubled thus far when you think about what the Rock Lobsters offense can offer. Back into their own zone. Oja with the puck. Looks like it's Alden out here with Gallant and Dion Demke. Prowlers going the other way. Sent into the zone by James. All the way around for Rosenswag. And it looks like it's a delay of game against Rosenswag as he sends it out of play with no deflection. Prowlers back to the Prowler power play. We're going to a commercial break. Stay tuned with us here. Rock Lobsters back to the Leslie Jones Law penalty kill. Classic City Flats is a brand new apartment community in Athens, Georgia that redefines luxury living, offering a sleek and contemporary living experience. Our impeccably designed apartment homes boast sophisticated interiors, premium amenities, and exquisite finishes, providing residents with an unparalleled downtown living experience. Classic City Flats is excited to deliver luxury apartments that set the new standard of sophisticated living in Athens, Georgia. Classic City Flats, redefining your horizon of living. Back to the Port Huron power play. Rock Lobsters repeat offenders on the night. Leslie Jones Law, strong, skilled, strategic defense. The Rock Lobsters have displayed that with their penalty kill this season. The top PK in the FPHL. That's also what you get when you call Leslie Jones Law. Rock Lobsters down a man after Rosenswag committed the delay of game penalty. Looking back at it, it looks like Malik Johnson has been assessed a total of 17 minutes of penalties, a cross-checking minor, a fighting major, and an aggressor game misconduct. And it's a penalty party right now between these two teams. And I don't think there's room for anyone else to be invited to the sin bin. Millette and Milan on the face-off. The more senior player is able to win it. Sent out. Rock Lobsters not trying to build out of their own zone at all and get it as far away from their net as possible. Up the left side, slight deflection. Pass still reaches Millette. Lackney, a little bit lackadaisical on the puck almost. Rock Lobsters have committed numbers forward, though. Prowlers taking it back towards Rosenswag's cage. Stopped at the line by Federle, the Port Huron captain. Side to side, the pass goes. Marty over to the right. Rock Lobsters now have it in their good graces. Little triangle here being created by the Rock Lobster offense. Shinkarik on the tip from Milan's pass. It just goes wide. Milan, a beautiful feed to Glukaryov. Tries to get it towards the backhand. A good poke there from the Slovakian and fellow number 77, Lucas Lackney. Rock Lobsters looking dangerous on the shorthand, but cannot tickle the twine past the fin just yet. dropped at the line. Federley around by Ducumbus. Rosenzweig didn't see that one till late, still able to make the save from the far side boards. Thank you to all of you that are joining us either on the stream or at Terrapin Tap Room. For those of you that are watching through your YouTube browser, make sure you like the stream, hit subscribe, and ring the bell to stay notified of all future content here on the official Athens Rock Lobster YouTube page. Calamity of bodies out of the corner. Less than 20 seconds to go on this man advantage for the Prowlers. Sent up the left side by Ducumbus. Joe Colatarsi with a big hit into the end boards. Ducumbus stepping up on the left side. Simmons Frazier, the big 6'7" son of a former NHLer, lets that one run. Rock Lobsters back at even strength. Dion Demke is back out on the ice as he served the delay of game penalty. Now there's a breakaway in the other direction. Flipped up by Virgili, and he draws the penalty. And it looks like it's going to be a penalty shot for Virgili, almost a de facto penalty shot there on that breakaway against Nusiainen. It's going to be Scandinavian against Scandinavian. And while Virgili has been the go-to guy in sudden death for Steve Martinson this season, he was not able to register a shot last night because he was serving a suspension. Can he get his revenge here on the Prowlers as it's 1-on-1 with the Swedish one? Virgili will look to gather some momentum right out in front of the welcome mat, in front of Josh Rosenzweig. Virgili, the lefty, drifting out to the left side, working his way towards the slot. Lost a slight handle right before he made it to Nusiainen, and then it's poked away by the Finn. Brett Lockhart, big hug towards Nusiainen as it was his penalty that created the shot for Virgili. Starting unit back out for the Rock Lobsters. There was a glimmer of hope that they could equalize before the first intermission on the penalty shot for Philip Virgili. As explosive as this Athens offense can be, there's still plenty of time to level the scoreline before we go back into the tunnel. Milan gets it taken off of him, but good at winning it back. Russell takes the hit from Lackney. Almost opened up for Millette right out in front of Rosenzweig's cage. Milan dances it into the end boards. Sent away by Thelstrom, but only a small distance away. Weisblatt out in front, gets just a tip on the centering pass from the trapezoid, and covering up is Nusiainen. Rock Lobsters with a slight advantage in shots on goal, 11-10, but it's the hometown team that has the advantage where it counts on the scoreboard. Alex Johnson with a goal in this one, his 300th point in his professional career. Gabriel asks, is that our first penalty shot for the season? No, it's not. I remember it was a game against Columbus. Garrett Milan had a penalty shot, and I remember everybody was confused, including me. I went to a commercial break thinking that it was just a penalty. Didn't see the referee point. Music was still playing in the arena as the shot was taken. But I do remember that penalty shot being taken. It was, I believe, against the first home game against Columbus earlier on. Someone can check on that. Glukaryov comes in to take the draw instead. Weisblatt fighting for it in the end boards. Shinkarik makes a step up. Shinkarik around. Puck loose out in front. Milan trying to get his sights on it, spinning to do so. Trying to get open, tight angle shot. That went off the side netting. Over the head of Weisblatt. Away from Bucel, Shinkarik finds Milan at the line. Took a piece of Parsons. Approaching the final minute of play. Gallant stops that one right into the path of Shinkarik. Shinkarik's possession of the puck gets edged out. Whistled around the rink. Picked back up by Virgili looking for amends. Can't find the 5-hole of Nusiainen. Less than a minute to go here in the first period. Rock Lobsters trying to knot things up, but Nusiainen not making it easy. As you see there, what's going on in the first intermission for the Port Huron Prowler Network here on the Athens Rock Lobster Network. We will flash our Coach's Corner for the week. My talk with head coach Steve Martinson that comes at you every week, if not more. Make sure you stay tuned here during the first intermission to catch it. Matt Graham dumps it in. He's back in play after that fight with Johnson. Gallant up on the right side. Gallant, beautiful move that he couldn't complete at the line. Reggie Millette, Jacksonville, Florida native. Good flow of play. Popped up high on Rosenswag. Millette can't take the puck with him. Kolatarsi doesn't get the pass that he wanted, but it drifts around for Oja. Got a whistle with 12 seconds left. Uh-oh, it looks like we've got an altercation of coaches here. I'm not sure if Chris Paulin is aware of Steve Martinson's previous work. I'm not sure if that's a tree he wants to bark up. Paulin trying to push the partition. Matt Graham and Steve Martinson exchanging pleasantries. Paulin just barking out at Steve Martinson. Meanwhile, Coach Marty looking as lax as ever behind the bench. One thing's for sure, if you're aware of Coach Marty, he can send some digs your way. He's a very, very clever guy. Everybody well aware of his career being an enforcer on multiple different levels in the professional game. But he could throw some fists your way that'll hurt, and he could throw some words your way that'll hurt too. He's a witty, witty man, that's for sure. Is there one last shot for either team in this one? It would be a heck of a rush from the Rock Lobsters to try and get towards Nusiainen's net with this defensive zone faceoff. Much more likely that there's something here for the Prowlers, but just 12 seconds to go to try. And now it looks like we've got another glove drop here. Kyle Powell going up against Simmons Fisher. Talk about a heavyweight fight. 6'6" and Powell. Simmons Fisher at 6'7". A little spill there. Ooh, and Kyle Powell still throwing a big hit right into the chin. And now Simmons Fisher sees an opening as Powell's bucket has come off. Kyle Powell not able to get his eyes on Simmons Fisher, but still landing some punches with a jersey pulled up over him. Kyle Powell experience in the ECHL this year. Simmons Fisher, the son of a former NHLer. And they'll take an early trip to the locker room about 12 seconds early. Simmons Fisher, the local, trying to pump up the McMorran Arena crowd. I talked about his father a little bit earlier. His father from Czechia, Yuri Fisher, logged 300 NHL games for the Detroit Red Wings, and he now serves as the director of player personnel for Detroit. Second fight of the period. We saw Malik Johnson against Matt Graham, and then now the two heavyweights, Kyle Powell at 6'6", and Braden Simmons Fisher at 6'7". Kyle Powell with a couple shots. Powell right in Simmons Fisher's kisser. 7 seconds to go in the first. We've seen about what feels like 500 penalties in this first 20 minutes. 3 seconds to go, and there will be another face-off in the Athens zone after the icing. Five each for Simmons Fisher and Powell, both for fighting. Alden wins the face-off, and that'll do it for the action in the first period. And a lot of action there was. We saw a couple fights, but the one that is currently controlling the narrative of this game, the goal from Alex Johnson to open up the scoring. And for the second consecutive night, it's the Prowlers who have taken a 1-0 lead. The difference this time, they've been able to keep it going into the first intermission. Let's see how long Nusiainen and Port Huron are able to control the scoreline. Taking a quick look before we go to our intermission coach's corner, let's quickly count up the amount of penalties that have been taken in this first period. 16 penalties in the first 20 minutes of this game. It's been a penalty-laden weekend for all teams involved in the Rock Lobsters trip to Michigan. It has been an interesting trip indeed. We talked about the potential of this trip, and the Rock Lobsters had the opportunity to clinch playoffs this weekend, but with the shootout loss last night, that is no longer the case, and also Monroe not dropping any points against the Dashers this weekend either. But the Rock Lobsters looking for revenge against Port Huron. Currently, they're down 1-0 after winning the shootout against Athens last night. We'll see if they're able to stay in control. But here's my talk with head coach Steve Martinson, where we discussed last weekend against Monroe and what's to come on the rest of the season for the Rock Lobsters. The Athens Rock Lobsters are coming off of a sweep of the Monroe Moccasins this past weekend. It was a 3-game set that was typical of our games against Monroe this season, and it's a big topic of our conversation today. Matt Rad, joined by head coach Steve Martinson. Coach Marty, it was a weekend of more of the same against Monroe, fights, hits, and Rock Lobster wins. How did it feel to get 3 exciting wins at home?
Well, we're playing. They're playing for the playoffs, and we're playing for first place. So, both teams have a lot on the go. So, it was a competitive weekend and close games. It was good to be on top.
First, we'll look at Saturday's game because we talked about Friday in our last talk on Saturday morning. One of the storybook moments of our season, I think. Malik takes a nasty knock and is down on the ice for a while, helped to the bench, and then helped to the locker room in the first period. Later on that period, Malik comes back to a big cheer on the ice, scores the equalizing goal, and then the game winner. How much does his resilience and determination to get back on the ice after such a tough moment speak to his character as an individual and then the team's mindset as a whole this season?
Well, Malik's a tough guy, and I think he was worried about, I didn't speak to him exactly how it felt, but that's why it's a match. It should have been a match penalty. He not only did he stick his leg out, he kicked him. And how they missed that call, how they don't get that right, it's kind of beyond me, but he sticks his leg out, whips it forward, and that's a really dangerous play, and it's a dirty play, and we're just lucky we didn't lose a player for the rest of the season.
I thought another interesting storyline was that Houston Wilson was more than willing to play the part of villain on our ice. We talked about Houston on Saturday morning, and the team had a chance to sign him earlier on, but the interactions between him and his former Pensacola roommate, Garrett Millen, and also his former teammate, Malik, it looked like from the outside that those three weren't necessarily fast friends. Can you talk about the complexities of this game and how sometimes your old buddies are who you want to play the hardest against?
Yeah, I'm not so sure they're not friends. But he's not. When I was looking at him, I was just, it wasn't like I was looking at him as a key component. He was a depth guy that I was looking at, but the deal fell through. But he was never one of the top guys in Pensacola, like our guys. So. I just looked at him as, Monroe is desperate to they signed another player from, I understand, from Macon today. So, they've got to win. They've got to win out really to make the playoffs. So, and they got to come here and play us 3 more times, and we want those games. So, the series, there's been some dirty stuff in the series. We had an elbow, I think it was Koch that elbowed Coach that elbowed Garcia right in the jaw. And when you slow it down, it's hard to see, but he turns and swings his arm out. And, when you slow it down, you can see it. But they missed that one too. So kind of frustrating when you lose players to injuries. And like I said, we didn't lose Malik. He came back and he was motivated and had a great series.
There's elements of the all-time series so far against Monroe that we'll talk about in a little bit. But, you have those 2 losses against Blue Ridge last week where you had opportunities to get back into the game and it just didn't happen. How did it feel to not only bounce back with those 3 wins, but to have 2 of those 3 wins feel like they really came against the odds against Monroe?
Well, did we talk about the 86 shots and the 26 missing the net? I think we talked about that. We did. Get shut out and we didn't shoot the puck very good. So, we were shooting the puck better. Malik was really, he couple of beautiful shots, top shelf. So, that was the difference. Obviously, we were shooting the puck better and getting scoring from not all 3 lines, but, getting a lot of scoring from Malik and Garrett. So, those guys stepped up in a big game, and now I put the lines back. I put Malik with Garrett just because I know they take cheap shots at Garrett, so that's why I kind of put that back together. But I put the lines back, for normal for this weekend.
So you go into that Sunday afternoon game, and you're able to get what was the first 1-0 lead you had of the series. Kason Gallant makes the Moccasins pay with his speed after a defensive lapse from Seth Bacon. You've let us in on some of the qualities that you look for in your players, but how crucial is speed and pace to how you want to play the game as a coach?
Well, like I said before, it's the way that, it's the fun way to play and the give and go and, making sure that you've got, guys in your line that understand that and aren't selfish and want to make plays. And to me, that's the way, carrying the puck and making plays is the reason we picked hockey over other sports. So, it's fun to see us do that. And Gallant, like I said before, he's been a great addition, and he just keeps getting better and better.
Things really started to boil over between the 2 teams. We saw Matt Garcia get blindsided, as you mentioned earlier, by Hugo Coach. It was a huge hit. Your team started to look for redemption, and we saw what I think may be our first all-out brawl of the season. Is that something that is talked about on the bench, or do the boys see one of their own go down and just know what needs to be done? Do they need your
permission? Usually, they weren't talking about it, but, if they see a cheap shot and, somebody comes in and then, more guys come in. And so, that's, you have to police, like if in this, and especially here, we get guys that get injured, like Orca got kicked and the guy got 2 games. I don't know, excuse me, that guy didn't get anything. But the guy that jumped Milan and like I said it before, I've never seen anything like that. And he got 2 games. So that's why you got to have guys in your lineup that will police things themselves, because, what do we care if a guy gets 2 or even 5 games? But if he injures Milan because he is allowed to go out and, jump him and punch him. And so, unfortunately, some of our tough guys are and one's in Monroe, one's in Cincinnati and one's in South Carolina. So I'll be kind of looking a little bit more as the guys become available from college and junior. So we might add one more forward. We can actually add 5 guys from junior and college, and we don't have to cut anybody. They don't count against the roster. So, we've got 2 defensemen coming in now and meeting us. One of them is getting in town today, and another defenseman meeting us tomorrow. So even though we had a couple of guys get hurt, we're getting a couple of guys back, a couple of new guys in.
Going to be interesting to see how the playoff roster takes shape. That game on Sunday, it started with a power play for Athens. If I understand the rule correctly, there's a rule that the horn sounds during warmups, and that's a 1-minute warning to get off the ice. If you don't get off, that's a penalty. And it just seems like an easy thing to control. And yet that's not the first time we've seen that this season. Why does this kind of stuff happen?
It's mind-boggling to me. It's just mind-boggling why players wouldn't do that. And, why you would have to have a penalty to enforce it. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me either, but it's something that they do. If a guy's off, some people like to be the last guy to get off the ice, and it's a superstitious thing. So, they're probably watching, and we've got guys going off. I don't go out and watch that part of it, but I haven't really noticed. But I'm assuming we may have a couple of guys that go off right at the end. And, some guys, to me, it's a dumb superstition. I'm okay with, the penalty because, to get off the ice, but I don't really think we need to have a penalty for that, but hell, I'll take it. I would be really, really mad. I could tell that coach was not very happy that, whoever their player was. I thought it was number 6, but then he put a different guy in the box. But I think it's because they wanted that guy coming out of the box and he wasn't killing penalties.
I don't think I've seen such a high percentage of a team's shots happen in one period. The Moccasins had 23 of their 38 shots on Sunday in the third period. How do you feel the team handled that late barrage, and what adjustments did you make to prevent them from capitalizing on those opportunities to tie the game?
Well, so by that point, we only had 3 defensemen in the lineup, and we had a forward playing D, and I thought Demke did a great job playing defense. He's been practicing at D, and I thought, it was great that he was in there. But, normally we're not going to be sitting back and playing that defensive of a game. But with the lineup that we had left, we just kind of had to be careful. So, it's not my favorite way to end up a series. But one of the things that Willie is now kind of on his A game again. He started out a little bit slow because he hadn't been playing. And it's tough to be, a goalie and not play and then be sharp. And he wasn't even practicing at times, so he was getting pretty frustrated. So I think we saw, the real Willie on Sunday and what he's capable of doing too. So that was a big bonus.
I know he's someone that you've already touched on twice in our last 2 talks, and you just talked on him there. But, Dion, not naturally a D-man. He hasn't had a ton of minutes this season, but he puts in a massive effort at the blue line in this past weekend. Talk about his ability to stay focused on the season as a whole and then come in and plug a spot where you need him, where he doesn't feel naturally comfortable, maybe.
Well, I think you maybe talk to Deon about that. I just know that Deon's a hardworking guy. He's in really good shape, and, he's got a great attitude. And, he hasn't had much opportunity this year, and he gets some opportunity at defense and steps up. And that game he was playing more and more. He played, he didn't play as much Friday night. Saturday we played him more, and then Sunday, obviously, he was playing a regular shift. And then by the time the third period, he was just as if he'd been back there all year. So it's a good plus because, especially now at the end of the year, and we got a bunch of games coming up. You never know. We didn't get any injuries all year, and all of a sudden we got a whole bunch in the last, few weeks. But the one common denominator is we're playing a lot of games.
Well, it feels like there's maybe another common denominator from the past weekend. And maybe I shouldn't ask this question, Coach, but I don't think it's any secret. For the boys, the fans, for you, is Monroe an easy team to hate?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, some of the guys that do the dirtiest stuff don't fight and don't really back up what they do. So, then they get a couple of guys that they'll bring in to kind of over, be the guy that, was going to cover for him. But, yeah, they got some Europeans too. It was the European that kicked Orca. And I thought that was, he kicked him. I mean, there's nobody that can look at that and tell me he didn't kick him. And did he mean it, cut him open the way he did? Probably not, but it was just really irresponsible play. So, I'm not in love with those guys, and we'll get them, we get them 3 more games, and we just got to make sure we're ready to go.
A little bit of personnel news coming into the weekend. There's been a trade for the organization. Brandon Reller has been sent to the Blue Ridge Bobcats in exchange for Belarusian D-man Timur Gavrilovich. You have some forward depth, and we have a couple of defensemen down with Knox. Is that why you feel like this is a deal you needed to make? Yeah, definitely. I mean, we may get Greco back. He's day-to-day, and Garcia's day-to-day. So I don't think, Robertson could be a much longer. And I know Murray, they're happy with Murray there. So it didn't look like we were going to get him back anytime soon. So, we added a couple of left shot D and it'll help us with our depth, and they're both big size guys and allows us to be, having the left-right D makes it sometimes a little bit easier. So tomorrow night or Friday night, we should have 3 left shot D in the lineup. First time all year. Going to be cool to see how Timur fares in his first weekend as a Rock Lobster. Speaking of which, we go into another 3-game weekend, the Motor City Rockers on Friday, and then the Port Huron Prowlers on Saturday and Sunday. This will be the lone time you play the Rockers this season. It's doubtful that changes in the playoffs. They've won only 1 of their last 10, but does that lack of familiarity, along with the fact that you will only play them once, the fact that you have to only scout this team for 1 game, make them somewhat a difficult team to prepare for? Not really. I mean, I'll be able to watch a lot of video. I haven't watched the video yet, but we have too many transactions going on, and having to find players. So I will look at their video for. Tomorrow while I'm traveling, I'll be looking at what they're playing and their style of play. But we really just do a few things that my phone's moving around. We'll do a few different things that, depending on what they do, and, something I don't really talk about, but we'll be ready for them. Last question for me, Coach. You're going into a weekend where you could potentially clinch a playoff spot. And with that being the case, you're going against 2 teams in the Empire Division. A lot has been made about the Empire Division this year, and that it might be a weaker set of teams in comparison to the Continental. Do you believe that, or would you rather be playing Continental teams at this point to sharpen iron before the playoffs? Yeah, we're still a long ways from the playoffs. I'm not worried about that. I'm just really concerned with our team and getting our third line scoring again, getting the new D, up to speed, getting guys back. So I really don't spend any time thinking about, I look for a couple things that they do, their set breakouts, what they do in the neutral zone, if they're doing a 1-2-2 or 2-1-2, and, those system things. But, we played Graham, or we played Port Huron already, so I already know about them. The big focus on me is just getting, not on me, the focus with me is just making sure we got everybody, playing up their ability and trying to make sure that by the time playoffs come, you're doing everything the way you want the team to be doing, and the way, each player and as a group. So still working on that, and just getting everybody going and up to what they're all capable of doing. Coach Marty and the Athens Rock Lobsters heading up to Michigan for a 3-game set. Coach, good luck this weekend. Thanks, Matee. Classic City Flats is a brand new apartment community in Athens, Georgia that redefines luxury living, offering a sleek and contemporary living experience. Our impeccably designed apartment homes boast sophisticated interiors, premium amenities, and exquisite finishes, providing residents with an unparalleled downtown living experience. Classic City Flats is excited to deliver luxury apartments that set the new standard of sophisticated living in Athens, Georgia. Classic City Flats, redefining your horizon of living. Farm Burger is defined by its mission, its farms, its team, and its family. In 2008, our co-founders gathered around a single idea: redefine the burger by bringing together a community of ranchers, farmers, chefs, restaurateurs, and eaters. Our promise is to strive every day and with every burger to uphold these core values to each and every one of you. We do that by holding ourselves to a higher standard. Grass-fed and grass-finished, that means our cattle are never fed grain. Our belief feeds our mission, and our mission is to feed you. Here you see the statistics from the first period, a total of 50 penalty minutes amongst the two teams. Coming into this one, I was pretty sure that the Rock Lobsters, the key between these two teams was who was going to be able to perform a little bit better on the power play. And right now, we haven't seen either team perform on the power play as of yet. And if there's anything like the first period in what remains of this game, then one thing's for sure, there's a lot of power play time that will be spent in this contest. For those of you who didn't tune into the first 20 minutes of this one, the Rock Lobsters and the Port Huron Prowlers coming back together after the Rock Lobsters were edged in the shootout last night. 2 fights, a lot of penalties, but 1 goal, and that belongs to the hometown team, unfortunately. Alex Johnson, who registers his 300th point as a pro, and right now it's his goal that is the decider, but still plenty of more time left in this one for the Rock Lobsters to get one on the board. They were down 1-0 yesterday. They came storming back to take a 2-1 lead, and then a late Port Huron goal tied things up. Nothing in overtime, and then the shootout was the decider. Austin Federley, the Port Huron captain, with the only goal, and then Reed Cooper stopped all 3 Rock Lobster shots. Away we go in the third period. Milan has a dribble in behind, and then Weisblatt sweeps it in for Oja. Right side, Russell with a pass, gets deflected into the zone. Taken in behind by Stiles. The Prowlers already sending things the other direction. Dumped in by Bucell. A lot of native Michiganders in this Port Huron team, Bucell being one of them. That one right past Milan, picked back up at the Port Huron blue line. Falls back favorably for the Rock Lobsters. Oja drops it back. Russell and Oja, the starting defensemen in this game. Oja invites the pressure from Millette. Sent long, and going to be an icing against the Rock Lobsters. A little less than a minute gone. Face-off will happen to the left from our perspective of Rosenzweig's cage. Virgili, Weisblatt, Russell, Oja, and Picard. Malik Johnson, with that fight in the first period, had the game misconduct, so lines being shifted around a little bit. Banked in towards the end boards, but good use of the body there from Oja to free things up for the Rock Lobsters. Sent deeper into the zone by Weisblatt. All the way around for Timur Gavrilovic. Awkward deflection towards the crease. Couple of bodies colliding as Nusiainen has the puck where no one else can get it. Rock Lobsters trying to make the most of their shot on goal advantage and try to beat Nusiainen for the first time today. He got the win Friday against the Watertown Wolves, a 3-2 victory for the Prowlers. But the Prowlers almost let up a big 3-goal advantage in that game. So they have to be on their toes here. Virgili, clean face-off win. Gallant leaves it for Shinkarik. Shinkarik stops at the trapezoid. Beautiful centering feed. Philip Virgili is back. What a way to make your return from suspension. Some might say, how sweet is it? Carter Shinkarik, we've seen how comfortable he can be from behind the Rock Lobster net. He makes an office in behind Nusiainen, a beautiful centering feed, and Philip Virgili with the goal, his 21st of the year. A great return for the Swede after serving a one-game suspension for his actions in Friday's game. Rock Lobsters have tied it up. An early goal in the second period. Virgili with an answer on Alex Johnson's goal. And something we talked about was Alex Johnson and Carter Shinkarik being two of the best offensive defensemen. Philip Virgili looking for another one. Tried to put back his own effort, and it's wide of the mark. Centering pass. Banked off the right side. Shinkarik able to keep it in play. Gallant fakes the slapper. A beautiful feed towards the slot. Picard unable to cast a spell on it. Speaking of spell, what a beautiful spell here for the Rock Lobsters. Picard in the left circle sends one wide to the right. Poked by Milan, and we've got a penalty upcoming here. It's going to be Timur Gavrilovic who will sit. Unfortunate, the Rock Lobsters really seeming like they were firing on all cylinders, and now they'll have to go back to the Leslie Jones Law penalty kill. Right after scoring the equalizing goal. Something that we talked about, the talents of Alex Johnson and Carter Shinkarik, two of the best offensive playing defensemen in this league, and both have been able to show that tonight. The primary assist for Shinkarik on Virgili's equalizing goal, Alex Johnson with the 300th point in his career on the opener. But the Rock Lobsters playing down a man. Milan trying to get there. Loses that foot race, but Daniil Glukaryov able to help complete the turnover by the Prowlers. Shinkarik can't keep it in over the line. He'll drift back, directing traffic like a point guard. Shinkarik gives it away. Rosenzweig can't bat it out of midair. Trying to bank it in off the back of Rosie was Frazee. Kolatarsi, shorthanded. His effort gets blocked out from the left circle by Parsons. Whiff of a shot the other way from Frazee. Milan making life heck in the other way, and Milan has his bucket pushed off of him and then gets taken to the ice. Dirty play there from Bucell as Milan had his bucket pushed off and then is pushed to the ice on the blind side. These have been the affairs, really, of two teams that really feel like they do not like each other. There have been fights, whether verbal or physical, all around the ice, including the two coaches on the bench. Milan getting taken to the box. Now, Steve Martinson very clearly can't believe it. Michael Greco apparently in behind the Rock Lobster bench. And I'm sure he's letting his thoughts be known too. Oh, and here we go again. Chris Paulin continuing to bark over at the Rock Lobster bench. Let's see if there's any answers to what the penalties we have here. No, the last thing we have is the Gavrilovic cross-checking, in which there was still 1:06 left on his penalty. Garrett Milan, I guess, going to the box for getting blindsided with a hit where he almost already had his helmet off. Starting to get at a loss for words. One thing's for sure, it's starting to get a loss of space in the penalty boxes for both teams. It's going to be a 4-on-3 power play for the Rock Lobsters. So I guess Milan guilty along with Bucell for something, but Bucell, the more guilty man, and serving a penalty will be Joel Frazee. Rock Lobsters on the 4-on-3 power play. Right now, the 4-on-3 will be for 50 seconds, but it will be a 2-minute power play, just so you're aware. Shinkarik enters from the right side. Of course, the Rock Lobsters having to play without their best offensive player, Garrett Milan, who's in the box. Kason Gallant with a tiptoe on the left circle, back to Shinkarik, lets it ride over to the right boards. Shinkarik loses a handle and that allows the Prowlers to send it the length of the ice. Let's see if there's any answers on the penalties as we check the Federal Hockey website. Meanwhile, Gallant gallivanting over the center of the ice, tries to pull it. One-timer slapper from the right circle. Picard gets it saved. And another fight here right out in front of the Port Huron bench. Carter Shinkarik throwing the gloves and throwing someone down to the ice. Shinkarik's victim there. How are you going to get taken down and try to pump up the crowd? We talked about the two best offensive defensemen potentially in this league, and both trying to generate a different kind of offense against each other there, Alex Johnson and Carter Shinkarik. The McMorran Arena might have to start investing some funds towards expanding their penalty box. So Bucell and Milan both got called for a roughing minor. Bucell will stay for an extra 2 minutes. That actually will be a penalty served by Joel Frazee for cross-checking. More penalties to be added on here. We didn't see how this fight between Shinkarik and Johnson started. It's going to be interesting because right now both have played their parts in the storyline of this game. Alex Johnson's goal opened up the scoring, and then Carter Shinkarik with the primary feed on Philip Virgili's equalizer. Things really starting to spill over here, and we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, the Rock Lobsters have evened things up. Can they find a lead in this one?
Meet our professional team, where the best customer service is our promise. With over 5 decades of expertise, trust Stanfield to keep you comfortable. Schedule online at stanfieldair.com.
Classic City Flats is a brand new apartment community in Athens, Georgia that redefines luxury living, offering a sleek and contemporary living experience. Our impeccably designed apartment homes boast sophisticated interiors, premium amenities, and exquisite finishes, providing residents with an unparalleled downtown living experience. Classic City Flats is excited to deliver luxury apartments that set the new standard of sophisticated living in Athens, Georgia. Classic City Flats, redefining your horizon. Oh my goodness. It continues to get more and more confusing here. Things are going to shift a lot. Right now we've got about 14 seconds of 3-on-3. Virgili wins the faceoff. Behind the net is Kolatarsi. To the right side, Gallant. Gallant takes it over the line. A lot of open ice for him. Tries to draw back the shot. Loses the puck. One times a pass towards Virgili. And now the Prowlers have some numbers going forward. Right now it's a 4-on-4. We'll try to fix that imminently. Gallant with a good opportunity the other way. Backhanded towards Rosenzweig by Lackney. Gallant. Prowlers trying as hard as they can to turn things over in the neutral ice. They do have the puck in their possession. Stomp on the brakes there by Parsons. One-time shot just over the bar. It's actually a Prowlers power play now, which will have about 45 seconds to it. Frazee over the line. Shot saved by Rosenzweig. All the way out of the zone, picked back up by Stiles. Man from Trenton, Michigan. Lockney takes the hit from Oja. Thelstrom here on this near side. Right circle feed to the left circle from Graham. Shot comes in. Puck loose out in front, and it's stuffed in. Power play goal with 10 seconds left on the man advantage. It's the man who's 1/3 player, 1/3 head coach, 1/3 general manager. Matt Graham gives the hometown team the lead. Demke, who was serving a penalty, returns to the bench after the power play goal. And the Rock Lobsters will have to play from behind for the second time tonight. Penalty box open here. I think they're trying to figure out who's going to be allowed to leave the ice here. I think Milan's still in the box. And why is Milan not being allowed out? Alden with a clean face-off win. Rock Lobsters find themselves down. 2 goals from 2 veterans, Johnson and Graham. The one in this one for the Rock Lobsters belongs to Philip Virgili. Rosenzweig, blade of the stick toward Russell. Backhand feed, entered in on the right side. Hit up high there on Weisblatt. The big man, Braden Simmons-Fisher, back out on the ice after his fight with Kyle Powell earlier on. Shot from the neutral zone. Force a save out of Nusiainen. Port Huron playing a dangerous game on their own half of the ice, but Simmons-Fisher trying to cut the ice with a pass, then takes out Glukaryov. Rosenzweig out of the crease. Stuffed in towards the front. Rosenzweig with a sprawl. Able to get his hind end over it. Dangerous looking play from the Prowlers as they are trying to make a 3-1 lead their prey. There was a rare hug that we saw between the two teams. It has been absolute calamity from late on in the first period to this point in the second. We're going to a commercial break. Let's see if things calm down.
Since 1968, we've been your trusted source for home comfort. From then to now, we've evolved, but our commitment to your comfort remains unchanged. Experience the expertise that only decades of dedicated service can provide. Trust Stanfield. We've been keeping homes comfortable for over 50 years. Your comfort, our legacy. Schedule online at stanfieldair.com.
Every business owner who's built a business wonders about their company's legacy. What's the path forward after they decide to take a step back? At the heart of every succession plan is a vision that safeguards hard-earned success. This isn't just paperwork. It's your roadmap, guiding a business during a change in ownership and detailing how ownership transitions and key financial decisions unfold. This instills a profound sense of pride, belonging, innovation, and commitment, ensuring a stable future for the company and a rewarding exit for you. Let's forge that path together.
It's a historic season for all the hockey fans in Athens, and how can you celebrate without beer? The Athens Rock Lobster Clawshank Redemption is available exclusively at Terrapin Tap Room. Terrapin, do the right thing, always. There was 50 minutes of penalties in the first 20 minutes of this game. That trend has continued well into the second period. Thank you for all of you that have come to Terrapin Tap Room to watch this game. It's been an entertaining one to say the least, but the Rock Lobsters fans and players alike looking and hoping for a win. Looks like Garrett Milan is back in the action, trying to get stuck in. Shot misses wide, goes into the corner. Timur Gavrilovic all the way back towards Kolatarsi. Beautiful entry there from Milan, who just took it with him, gets himself in the slot, misses on the shot. Kolatarsi over to Gavrilovic. Swept back by Kolatarsi. Picked back up by Milan off the end boards. Out to the right side. Kolatarsi winding up that shot. Swallowed up by Nusiainen. And again, things almost spilling over here. Millet against Weisblatt. Port Huron has not been the, let's call the city of brotherly love for the Rock Lobsters in this two-game set thus far. Bucell is able to break out from that cell. And Matt Graham stepping in to take his place. Shots on goal in the second period alone is 4-1 in favor of Port Huron. But it looks like a hooking call going against the goal scorer of Port Huron's second. So the Rock Lobsters back to the power play. The Prowlers have their power play goal. Let's see what the Rock Lobsters can do on the quadruple P here. Oja to the right side. Milan. Daniil Glukaryov. Of course, Shinkarik with a fight earlier on, so he's not here to quarterback this power play. Oja on in his place. Glukaryov on the right side almost loses a handle. Good recovery there. Virgili out to Milan. Oja. Gallant tiptoes out from the left of the left circle. A couple of one-time passes between him and Oja. We saw a Red Deer Ripper, but it's blocked out by the Prowlers, and they have to try and get the puck back in their good graces to try and stop the clock here and recover. Virgili, rather Glukaryov, out to the right for Milan. Glukaryov, no look, backhand feed. Virgili trying the same towards Gallant. Gallant able to get that puck, but it's pinned out to the boards. Crucial here that Port Huron get a touch here, but it looks like play will resume. There's nobody hurting anymore. Gallant. Oja right back to the Red Deer Ripper. That one's an absolute laser, and the man who possesses the laser sights has just scored what is potentially the league-leading power play goal of the year. Kaysen Gallant has become Mr. PPG. That is his 12th on the man advantage of the year. Power play goals starting to play their part in this game. We've had 2 in the second period thus far. We knew they might with how many penalties we've seen in this game, but how about the view we got on that goal from Kaysen Gallant, who sought out the top shelf as only he can and tied things up at 2 apiece. We've seen this scoreline already this weekend. It did not benefit the Rock Lobsters the first time around. Let's see if they can change that narrative here in this series finale. Face off right at center ice. Picard back for Kolatarsi. Picard on the near side, poked away from him by Lockhart and out of play into the Port Huron bench. Shinkarik has served his fighting major, as has Alex Johnson, and both will return to the ice. How about that? Empty penalty boxes. Somebody go and do the math for how much we've seen that today. Virgili against Stiles on the draw. The latter wins the faceoff. There to play fetch is Gavrilovic. Gallant, the goal scorer of the Rock Lobsters' second, back for Shinkarik, who's well rested now, although he might have some sore knuckles. Picard helps it out towards Gallant. Gallant looking dangerous. A beautiful backhand feed. Stuffed back in by Shinkarik. 2 big saves there by Nusiainen. Rink-wide pass. Styles returning the favor. Left circle shot. Rosenzweig out of his crease, but his team is there to help put the foot on the fire. Millette buzzing around his own net. Simmons Fisher fakes taking it away. Right back to Millette. Millette making a foray out of his own zone with a pass towards Kenny Styles on the near side. Graham, who took the lead at 2-1, loses the puck. Defenseman Adam Oja up into the offensive play. Gets it taken away from him. Dumped back in by the Rock Lobsters. Milan will chase. Gets on the right side of Nusiainen. Dodging that one with the foot was Millette. No icing, so Millette probably got something on that one. Beautiful feed from Milan. Rock Lobsters will change. Federley tips it in. Rosenzweig in the trap. Federley stops it at the line. Shot from the line. Save from Rosenzweig. Poked away by DeCumbus, but that sends the Rock Lobsters the other way. Danny Dangles with a feed to Milan on the near side, looking to send one towards the dangerous part of the ice, cut out by Bucell and the Prowlers. Good poke check there from Kolatarski, but it falls favorably. Rosenzweig with a big-time save on Bucell. You cannot get in a much more dangerous position on the ice as a goal scorer than what Jamie Bucell just did. Rosenzweig able to close the distance and make the save look easy, and believe me, it was not. Going to another commercial break. Stay tuned with us here on the Athens Rock Lobster Network. We've got a tied one at 2-2. A reminder that this broadcast of the Athens Rock Lobsters is brought to you by Piedmont Athens Regional. Real change lives here. Aikens Ford is the largest Ford dealership in Georgia. If you're going to trust anyone, why not trust the biggest and the best? Stanfield Air Systems, we've spent the last 50 years fulfilling Athens' HVAC needs. First American Bank and Trust, we specialize in you. And Terrapin Beer Company, do the right thing always. Another big thank you to everyone watching in the Terrapin Tap Room. Rock Lobsters looking for some Clawshank redemption. We've got a tied one in the second period, 2-2.
Meet our professional team, where the best customer service is our promise. With over 5 decades of expertise, trust Stanfield to keep you comfortable. Schedule online at stanfieldair.com.
Right back into it here in the second period, 8 minutes and 37 seconds to go. And I want to send a big thank you. I'm not sure if anyone's watching actually in McMorran Arena, but my colleague, broadcaster for the Port Huron Prowlers, Will Wiggleman, sent me a picture of someone with a Mateen sign in the crowd. And I just thought that was a very, very kind thing to do to represent the broadcaster of the team. And very, very happy to be able to bring you these games this year. It's been an absolute honor and a pleasure, hoping to continue to do so next season and also when playoff season comes rolling around here. As we were just saying, tied game at 2 apiece. Kason Gallant on the power play goal now leads in that category with his 12th of the year. And generally that is his 28th. Dumped in. Rosenzweig plays it in the trap. Kolatarski taking it away from him. Kolatarski meandering through his own slot, finds Virgili. Virgili has Gallant on the right side. Can't get him to him. Getting tied up with someone right behind the net. Little wrestling match developing there. Dumped back in by the Rock Lobsters. Gallant gets there first. Beautiful feed Left circle shot from Picard, saved by the fin and net. Is there another opportunity? Great pass there from Gallant. Kolatarski with a shot that gets blocked, trying to follow it up himself, getting lost in Rock Lobster skates. All the way around from Kyle Powell. Millette gets there first. Gallant stopping it at the boards, trying to get it free with the blade of his stick, and he does, but can't keep it in the offensive part of the ice. Rock Lobsters heading off for the change. Alden, Demke, and Ronan. Shinkarik has calmed things down since returning to play. Alden trying to be the beneficiary of this puck pinballing around the red line. Alden getting it turned over in behind. Backhand shot from Stiles. Never reached Rosenzweig. Less than 7 minutes to go. Frazee has it on the goal line. Sends it back to the blue line. Shot blocked on the effort from Braden Simmons-Fisher. Right out in front of the left circle. Shot came from the Prowlers. Stuck back in by Simmons-Fisher. Swept around by Stiles. All the way around toward the line, but no one's there to stop it. The big 6'7" D-man, Braden Fisher, inviting the pressure, dealing with it well. Deflects off Russell. Bounces down. Shinkarik has it in the left defensive circle. Really appreciate all the kind words in the chat. Thank you so much, everybody. Dumped in by Shinkarik. Stopped by Nusiainen. Out of the corner. Trickles in around for Oja. Oja trying to push the saloon door on the defender, his fellow countryman Ludwig Thelstrom. Oja doing well despite being surrounded by 2, now 3 Prowlers. Glukaryov can't shake it loose. Absolute chaos in terms of the trajectory of the puck. 2-on-1 developing for the Prowlers. Scooping it up like a baseball catcher was Rosenzweig. .5:42 left in the middle period. There hasn't been a lot of kumbaya moments between the two teams in this contest, I'll tell you that much. I'm not sure the Rock Lobsters will be buying the Prowlers any clawshank redemptions at the Terrapin Tap Room when the Prowlers make a visit next time around. Offensive zone draw. Matt Graham loses out on the faceoff to Virgili. But Matt Graham out of it makes a great feed towards the slot. Here comes Picard, a 3-on-2 developing the other way. Has Virgili and Gallant to his left. A mispass springs the Prowlers the other way. Shot comes in. Rosenzweig watches it into the oven mitt. Shots on goal are now in favor of the Prowlers, 20-18. It's interesting. The flow of the game maybe has benefited the Prowlers more in the second period, but it's the Rock Lobsters that have 2 goals to Port Huron's 1 in this middle 20 minutes. Picard out of the face-off win from Philip Virgili. Lofted into the air towards Rosenzweig. Was requesting the icing, but it never made its way past the goal line. Rosenzweig will freeze time with 5:13 to go. Make sure you stay tuned in the second period. It was a great performance from Rosenzweig Friday with 21 saves and 22 shots. Almost registered the rare goalie goal with a little more than a minute to play in that game against Motor City. Matt Graham surrounded by 2. Stay tuned during the second intermission. You'll hear the lobster tales from Josh Rosenzweig. Virgili banks it in around. Stopped by the Prowlers. Millette in the far corner has Shinkarik pressing him in from behind. This just shaving seconds off the clock now. Almost went through the skates of Gavrilovich. Pass deflected. Simmons Fisher, one-timer. Rosenzweig with another save. He's been the busier goaltender in the second period, but he's dealt with it well. We'll see if he can continue to do that after this commercial break. UGA football player Amarius Mims suffered a serious injury. The quality care from the Piedmont team changed his life.
As a football player, my body is everything to me. When I got injured, I was worried about
my future in the game, but you and your team's expertise, care, and support reassured me from the start. I've been able to recover because of the quality care I received at Piedmont, and I am back playing at my full potential on the field. I can't thank you enough for what you've done for me, my family, and my future. Your help means the world to me, and I'll always be grateful for your part in keeping my dreams alive. How you doing?
Well, I didn't know you were going to be here.
Yes, sir.
I'm so proud of you. So happy for you. It gives me joy to see you out there on the field doing your thing.
You look good.
Appreciate you.
It's a good-looking ankle.
I'm trying to tell you.
There's only one place you can deck yourself out and represent Athens' first ever pro hockey team, the Rock Lobsters. Head to shop.rocklobstershockey.com to get your hats, shirts, and even jerseys now. 4:39 to go in this second period. We've seen a lot of momentum shifts in this game right now. And while the fluidity of the offense is now more benefiting the Prowlers, the Rock Lobsters have themselves in high hopes after they were able to tie this game twice. Wow, what a beautiful move from Weisblatt, just helping it onto the stick of Kolatarsi. Kolatarsi almost loses a handle, whistles it around the end boards, looking for Glukarioff, doesn't find him, but stuck back in by Kyle Powell. Powell taking part in one of the two fights that we saw tonight. Glukarioff gets edged out. Little 2-on-2 the other way. Good move towards the left side, but Kolatarsi is able to encumber Decumbus. Glukarioff drops it back. Right circle shot. Blocked out on the effort from Weisblatt. Poked away towards the neutral ice. Oja, the Swede with speed through neutral ice. Gets it poked away from him. Picked back up by Picard. The ice pick with a pass out to the right side. He'll chase in, but Nusiainen will freeze. Picard saw an opening there and tried to poke in it after it was in Nusiainen's grasp. Seems the Port Huron team has taken exception to that. And Picard will be more than familiar with a lot of these players, having registered more than 20 games with the Prowlers last season. I want to thank all 287 of you for joining us on the stream today, even more of you in the Terrapin Tap Room. If you haven't already, make sure you like the stream, subscribe so you can play a part in our world-famous chat, and also ring the bell to stay notified of all future content here on the Athens Rock Lobster Network. Good burst there from Picard that blocked out the pass from Brett Lockhart, but the Prowlers are able to get it moving the other way. Rosenzweig, if there was any icing to be called there, will stop it as he plays the puck. Picard with a beautiful one-time swipe. Gallant dropping it back. Virgili looking for an option, finds one, and Gavrilovic over the bar. Shinkarik getting paired with Gavrilovic. Shinkarik a little around the world. Can't get the pass back. Rock Lobsters asking for a delay of game. And it looks like they're getting one. It's Luke James who's getting taken to the box. Delay of game there for the 26-year-old forward from Moon Township, Pennsylvania. His first full season in the pros, having played 5 games last year with the Elmira River Sharks. Rock Lobsters back on the power play. Their last power play was a big one. Kason Gallant's 12th of the year was able to draw Athens level with the hometown team. Can he register 13th number here? And Shinkarik apparently brought down Luke James right after the penalty was taken, and it looks like that will offset what we thought was going to be a quadruple P. The Rock Lobsters did score earlier on the power play. Because of that, 24 hours through the FanSaves app, you will be able to unlock $3 tacos at Paloma Park. So keep an eye out on social media for that deal to be activated through the FanSaves app. Just another great reason why you should use FanSaves and follow the Athens Rock Lobsters to access the team's digital coupon book. So it looks like there's going to be 2 people added to the box for the Prowlers. So it appears that not only the delay of game, but also an embellishment called against James, which feels like if you're going to call someone for a penalty for embellishment, for diving, or can you really call it against the guy who committed said penalty? I don't know. But it will be a power play, a Paloma Park power play for the Rock Lobsters. False start on the draw. We'll do it again. Garrett Milan with Oja, Glukaryov, Virgili, and Gallant. Gallant scored his league-leading 12th goal earlier on in this game when it comes to power play tallies. Oja out to the right side for Milan. Of course, the Rock Lobsters missing the quarterback of their power play, Shinkarik, once again after his penalty. Milan fakes the load-up shot, sends it into a dangerous area, skips past Glukaryov. Gallant trying to force it back to Oja and does. Gallant on the left side. Getting encumbered there by Frazee. Glukaryov losing his stick, gets it back. Glukaryov lets it run, and it unfortunately runs past Oja as well. Two minutes to go in this second period. More than half of it will be spent on a Rock Lobsters Paloma Park power play. Sent long, played by the glove of Rosenzweig. Right into Kason Gallant. Flips it towards Russell. Russell with a burst out to the left of Rosenzweig's cage. Milan meandering through the center of the ice. Milan taking it around Brett Lockhart into the end boards. Matt Graham lays the hit. That opens up the clearance once again. Rock Lobsters unable to really get settled here in this power play towards the end of the second period. Kolatarsi steps on the brakes, trying to take it around was Weisblatt, but here come the Prowlers with a potential 2-on-1 brewing the other way. Pad save with a toenail from Rosenzweig. The Prowlers had numbers committed the other way. Weisblatt looking for a window to force this puck into. Instead, he takes the option behind the Port Huron net. One-time pass from Kolatarsi, right circle shot, no go from Picard. And that will end the man advantage in the Paloma Park power play. Is there still an opening for Athens to take a late lead here in the second period? Trying to generate some energy. Rosenzweig keeping his head on a swivel. Weisblatt in behind for Russell. Weisblatt gets a tip, stopped at the Port Huron blue line. Loaded back in and sent back over by the Rock Lobsters. Played with a skate of Oja. Right on the center of the ice. There's a little kick there out to the far side. Late period shot over the bar of Rosenzweig, who we'll hear from in the second intermission. It was Another entertaining period here in McMorran Arena, and a much more positive one for the Rock Lobsters as they will go into the tunnel with a tied game instead of being down a goal. A minute 24 seconds in, Philip Virgili converted a beautiful Carter Shinkarik feed to tie things up at 1 apiece, but Matt Graham retook the lead on the power play for the Prowlers as he was able to combine with Lucas Lackney once again. That lead would last a little less than 3 minutes. On their own man advantage, Kason Gallant scores his league-leading 12th power play goal of the year to even things up at 2 apiece. Currently, that is the storyline in this one. Josh Rosenzweig has saved 22 of the 24 shots he's seen. That's already more than he had to make in the game Friday against Motor City. We almost saw him score a empty net goal, the rare goalie goal. Before we get to our lobster tales involving Josh Rosenzweig, let's see if we can get some updates on the scores around the FPHL right now. How about this? 2 nights in a row for the Mississippi Seawolves. 3-2, are they able to beat the Baton Rouge Zydeco for the second straight night? Huge shout out to Danny Woodrick. I'm sure he's very, very happy about that. Meanwhile, the Danbury Hat Tricks up 3-1 in the second period against the Venom HC. And then a 1-0 advantage for the Binghamton Black Bears over the Blue Ridge Bobcats, looking for some revenge of their own. Later on, we'll have a game at 6 p.m. that will start Watertown Wolves not too far away from where we currently are in McMorran Arena as they take on the Motor City Rockers in Big Boy Arena. Well, we talked about Josh Rosenzweig, his great game Friday. He's having a pretty good performance here this Sunday afternoon. Here is our Lobster Tales with Josh Rosenzweig.
Hey, Crustacean Nation. We've got another episode of Lobster Tales here for you on the Athens Rock Lobster Network. Matt Team Rad here, and I'm joined today by goaltender Josh Rosenzweig. Rosie, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. And why wouldn't you be doing good? You're coming off an amazing performance against the Columbus River Dragons, 38 save shutout, and a completely clean slate in the shootout as well. At what point in that game are you aware of really just how locked in you are?
Yeah, I mean, started off the game with like 10 shots in the first period or 11 or something like that. And I felt like I was in a groove, so it was starting to feel really good. And then in the second and third, it was still 0-0, and I just had the mentality that, I wasn't getting beat.
Is there ever any fear in a game like that when maybe the rest of the team isn't firing on all cylinders and it feels like they're leaning on you to keep them in the game? Are you in a mindset where you're trepidatious to make a mistake, or are you just trying to take it kind of save by save?
I think as a goalie, you sort of live for those moments, those games where you can really step up and be the hero. So I love those little tight games. Obviously love to keep it 0 as long as possible. So, yeah.
That's exactly what you did. And after that final save of the shootout, your emotion on the ice was obvious. What was running through your head when it was all said and done?
Yeah, obviously, I was really pumped up, really fired up. I'd get on one knee, do my little fist pump, Sully, and then kind of did the Columbus fans celebration like when they score. So I, all those emotions at once, it was really fired up.
You're in your second year as a professional, but you've also had a very prolific junior career. Where does that performance on Saturday night rank in your memory of games past?
Yeah, it was definitely one of my better games in a while, and it just felt really good to have a game like that. Obviously, for confidence and yeah, it just felt really good.
Speaking on your confidence, you've now played 4 games in a row. You're the first Rock Lobster goaltender to do that. Do you feel like the amount of game time, the amount of play that you've had recently has really helped you find a new level in your play?
Yeah, I think that, the more you play, you sort of get into a groove, and the better you feel out there. So, yeah, definitely the last couple games in a row that I've gotten the opportunity to play, I've definitely felt stronger and stronger every time I step out on the ice.
You grew up in Toronto. Does it suffice to say that you also grew up a Maple Leafs fan?
Yeah, 100%.
Who would have been your biggest goaltending influences growing up to a young hockey fan? Would it have been James Reimer?
I picked number 34, like the number I wear, when I was probably like 7 or 8 years old, probably because of Reimer, I think. But my favorite goalie growing up would have to be Jonathan Quick from the LA Kings, or now he's on the Rangers.
You got your start in the pros last year with Watertown, but how did this opportunity come about with the Rock Lobsters, and what factors about the team made you want to take the trip to Athens?
Yeah, I saw, there was an expansion team in the Fed. I saw that Athens was one of them, and I did a little Google search, saw like the town and all that stuff, and I thought it'd be cool to move to the South and play hockey. And I reached out to Coach Steve Martinson. We had a little chit chat, and then we just we made it work.
How has it been living in Athens thus far? Because I mean, you're one of the youngest guys on the team, 21-year-old. It must be perfect to be living in a college town.
Oh yeah, it's been great so far. I love the South. I love especially like you said, college town. There's always stuff to do, and we're set up really nice with our apartments. So it's been a pretty good lifestyle down here.
Toronto, it's arguably the hockey capital of the world. Moving down here to play hockey in the South, and of course you were in Watertown, in a New York town the year before. Has it taken any adjustment to get used to the hockey culture down here in the Deep South?
Yeah, it's definitely different. I mean, down here, I would say probably football is college football is like the number one thing. But honestly, ever since we started playing home games down here, I feel like the community and the fans that we're starting to attract, it's getting bigger, and we're getting a lot of love from the community. So it's been really fun, and a lot of fans, like sometimes I'll be out like to go like at a restaurant, and like people will come up to me and just be like, "Oh, like you're on the Lobsters, blah blah," and it's pretty cool to start to get that recognition. So it's been nice.
So there's also a third team that you've played in as a pro. That was HC Tel Aviv. What was that experience like to play in Israel, and how did that opportunity arise?
That's funny. I never ended up going to Israel. It was an error on the website. I was supposed to go this summer to play in the Israel League. That sort of fell through just because there's been like a lot of wars going down over there in that part of the world. But no, I would definitely love to go and play in the summer in the Israel League, and I got family there and stuff, so it would be good to kind of see them and hang out with them and play some hockey down there.
So I actually looked this up. So it is a German-Israeli name, Josh Rosenzweig. I realized what the translation is. Do you know what it translates to?
I think it's like the thorn on a rose.
Rose branch is what, I mean, doesn't mean Google's always right?
Yeah.
That's what came up.
Yeah.
I've asked a fair amount of the guys who they think the funniest guy on the team is. And your name has come up, I think, every time.
Really?
Would you give yourself that title, or does someone else come to mind for you?
I mean, I definitely like to keep it light most of the time, but I don't know. I would say that Orca Weisblatt, he's a character. He's a funny guy.
Is he kind of like a sneaky funny guy? Because Orcs can be a quiet dude.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really close with him, so once you get to know him a little bit better, he can make you giggle a little bit. So he's pretty funny.
We've already mentioned it once. You're one of the youngest guys on the team. I think Brandon Rellett is the only guy that's younger. 2 questions with that in mind. Who have been the guys that you have been closest to on the team? And then who are the more experienced guys that you've kind of been looking up to?
Yeah, so closest I would say, definitely Orca, my roommate Kason Gallant and Garcia, and probably Reller too. Like all us young guys, we have a lot of stuff in common. We love to hang out together after practice and whether it's watching movies or going to get something to eat, it's always a good time with them. And then you said experienced, sorry.
Who have been the more experienced guys that you've been looking up to?
Definitely, guys like Shanks and Millsy. Those guys, they lead by example every day. They've instilled a culture on this team that, there's very high expectations. And I don't think I've ever seen those two guys, especially like ever go through the motions or take a day off. Like those guys, they lead by example and they've had long pro careers because of it. And, it's always good to learn from guys like that.
Being a goalie, goalies tend to be the superstitious type. Do you have any superstitions or any rituals that you partake in?
When I was younger, I used to have a lot of weird things that I felt like if I didn't prepare this exact way, it wasn't going to be a good game or anything. But as I've gotten older, I've tried to keep it really simple. I mean, if we're on the road like this past weekend, definitely want to get a good meal, good nap in, and then when we show up to the rink, I like to get my headphones in and sort of just dial in, and I'll grab a lacrosse ball, throw it against the wall, and then make sure that I'm all stretched up, get treatment, make sure my body's ready to go. And then I guess little things with my equipment, I always get dressed the same way. So like right skate before the left, like that kind of stuff. But yeah.
I had a group of buddies come in for the New Year's Eve game, and I had a buddy's girlfriend. She's really a good friend too, but she wanted me to ask you about your stretching routine. Can you take us through the pregame stretch? Maybe any stretches that you can teach us here on the interview.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've done that same little routine probably since junior, since I was about 16. I don't know. It's just something I like to do. It's it might look a little flashy and a little crazy at sometimes, but it definitely gets my body ready to go. It gets me dialed in, it gets me focused. I'll grab the water bottle and I'll sort of squirt it up and then watch the water drops, just kind of focus my eyes. And that's basically it.
It feels like you kind of have a thing for playing in Monroe. Some of your best performances have come against the Moccasins in Monroe this season. What is it about there that just brings out the best in you? Is it something about maybe the fans there that you really want to be on your very best, or some other factor that really puts you in tip top to go up against the Moccasins?
Yeah. I'm not really sure, but every time we're in Monroe, I think they've had the most fans consistently, like on a nightly basis on the road. I think they get an average of like 4,000, north of 4,000 fans a game. And I don't know, I've loved the pressure. I've loved the spotlight, ever since I started playing. And they always have, the fans heckling at us. They make signs and stuff. So, it's a great atmosphere to play in. And, when you get booed, sometimes you like being the villain. It's not always a bad thing. And, it's been fun the couple times that we've played in Monroe.
From being the villain in Monroe to being the hero in Athens Arena, we've got a 3-game set coming up against the Baton Rouge Zydeco. Rosie, how excited are you to get back on the home ice? And what has it been like for you as a goaltender to open up this new arena with the Rock Lobsters?
Yeah, obviously love playing at home with the new rink. It's beautiful. It's It's a great building. You know, in front of our fans, playing in front of our fans, there's nothing better than that. And you know, I'm very excited for this weekend. We got a big weekend against Baton Rouge,
So you're in an interesting position, Rose. I've asked guys like Shanks and asked guys like Millsy about what their individual goals for the season are. And really all they've talked about is really wanting to help the team because of where they are in their careers. But in terms of you, you're still so young into your career, especially your professional career. So what are some of the individual goals that you want to achieve for yourself this season?
Yeah, I mean, I'm here to win a championship. I've never won in any level before, and you know, I'm hungry. I want to know what it feels like to win. So I'm here to win a championship, and I think we have the right guys to do it. You know, we have a very talented and skilled team, like up and down the lineup, and hopefully I can give the team the best chance to win, you know, every night. And yeah, I just want to win.
You've definitely given the team a winning recipe as of late. Josh, thanks so much for joining me today. Looking forward to seeing you play against Baton Rouge this weekend.
Is this thing on? Perfect.
Since we opened in 1968, we've taken pride in our professional staff. Unparalleled customer service is our legacy. Experience the best, skilled hands and friendly faces. At Stanfield Air Systems, satisfaction is not just a guarantee, it's our tradition. Schedule online at stanfieldair.com.
Classic City Flats is a brand new apartment community in Athens, Georgia that redefines luxury living, offering a sleek and contemporary living experience. Our impeccably designed apartment homes boast sophisticated interiors, premium amenities, and exquisite finishes, providing residents with an unparalleled downtown living experience. Classic City Flats is excited to deliver luxury apartments that set the new standard of sophisticated living in Athens, Georgia. Classic City Flats, redefining your horizon of living. Farmburger is defined by its mission, its farms, its team, and its family. In 2008, our co-founders gathered around a single idea: redefine the burger by bringing together a community of ranchers, farmers, chefs, restaurateurs, and eaters. Our promise is to strive every day and with every burger to uphold these core values to each and every one of you. We do that by holding ourselves to a higher standard. Grass-fed and grass-finished, that means our cattle are never fed grain. Our belief feeds our mission, and our mission is to feed you. We're about ready to start the third period, and Will Wiggleman has a trivia question. What state is the largest producer of lobster in the United States? That would have been my guess. Of course, Maine lobster, get a lobster roll, that kind of thing, all very prevalent in that part of the nation. One thing is for sure is one thing that's been prevalent in this game thus far has been the amount of penalties that we've seen. We saw 50 minutes of penalties taken in the first 20 minutes of this contest. That trend continued into the second as well. Right now, we're just seeing the Prowlers make their return to the ice. We've got ourselves a 2-2 ball game, or puck game, if you will. Port Huron opened up the scoring in the first period and went into the first intermission with the lead after the goal from Alex Johnson. He's one of the better offensive defensemen in this league, but perhaps the best is Carter Shinkarik, who had the primary helper, a beautiful feed on the equalizer a minute 24 seconds into the second period, behind the net to feed Philip Virgili, who was back from his one-game suspension. About 4 minutes after that, Port Huron was able to re-snatch the lead at 2-1. Matt Graham, the head coach GM player, scored on the man advantage. And then Kason Gallant, he's been Mr. PPG this year. That continues to be the case as he scored his league-leading 12th power play goal of the year. We're just about ready to get underway here in the third period. The Port Huron Prowlers were able to retake also the shot on goal advantage in the second period. They now lead that category 24-19. Rock Lobsters will start this third period out with the biscuit. Let's see what they can do with it. Oja sends it in. Drops back down on the far end boards, taken away by Jamie Bussell. Lukarioff gets one poke check in, tries for another. Milan has it back in his good graces. Russell in the right circle on the defensive end drops it back for the big man, sweet Adam Oja. Oja has an option in Orca on the near side. Weisblatt tries to dump it in the far corner. Prowlers take it away, but can't find any route towards offensive ice. Pinned in the boards right in front of the Port Huron bench. Feels like we've almost seen some coach fights in this one as well. A lot of verbal altercations between the two coaching staffs. More and more seconds coming off the clock here. Not sure if they've lost sight of this puck. It finally comes out for Picard. Gallant, left circle shot. Pad save Nusiainen. That was worth waiting for. Just a margin of a miss there from Gallant. Centering pass out from behind. Rosenzweig sprawl, but didn't need to make the save. Trinkles in behind to Shinkarik. Gallant rehandles. Hard bank pass. Flipped over to Alden. Rock Lobsters able to push it ahead. Gallant with a dive. Can't get any twig on that puck. Long range pass. Taken in the corner by Frazee. Left circle shot blocked easily by the Rock Lobsters. Right circle effort this time. Then they can't stop that one. First goal for Braden Simmons Fisher. He has his first as a professional, and it comes at a heck of a time for the Prowlers. Early goals in periods have benefited the Prowlers. And for the third time tonight, the Rock Lobsters will have to try and fight back from behind. Braden Simmons Fisher, we talked about his background. Big old 6'7" D-man who played college hockey at the University of St. Thomas in Minnesota. His father, Czechian international Yuri Fisher, as we see a save there from Nusiainen on Glukaryov. Logged 300 NHL games for the Detroit Red Wings and now works as the current director of player personnel for that organization. Reggie Millette with speed over the line. Big hit on the far side. Everybody back up to their feet. Milan trying to put a Prowler figuratively on skates there. Millette trying to get everyone back on side. Ops against it. Rosenzweig toward his roommate, Kason Gallant. Russell dumped in toward the end boards. Philip Virgili maneuvered away, but Kason Gallant almost wins it. He does have it here. Flips it into his yard. Virgili on the left wing. Takes it in. Pass Picard, around for Russell. Gallant gets it through the skates of a Prowler, looking for a tip in front from Picard. Oja steps in, using the boards to his advantage. Now those boards playing a part, keeping that puck where it is. Virgili trying to feed Russell, the D-man in the right circle. Gallant wanted that a little bit more cleanly. He gets tripped up there. And the officials disagree, and the Rock Lobsters wanting a penalty. Thought that was pretty clear cut. Up the left flank. No icing, tipped in. Oh, a long-range pass to Cumbus. Pad save from Rosenzweig. Shinkarik. That breakaway opportunity stuffed for DeCumbus. Who was unencumbered before he reached Rosenzweig. Offside called against the Rock Lobsters. Braden Simmons currently with possession of the game winner. His first pro goal. We'll see if it remains that way, or for the third time this game, the Rock Lobsters can knot the scoreline up. Shots on goal currently continuing to grow for the Prowlers. Milan swats it to Shinkarik. Whistled in around the rink. Rock Lobsters stopping on the far side. Gavrilovich with a pass that is intercepted by Bucell. Orca Weisblatt. Little knock over to Milan. Good lead into Glukorioff. Wide to the left. 3 Canadians and 2 Europeans out on the ice for the Rock Lobsters. Gavrilovich able to keep it in the zone after not getting anything on that shot. Weisblatt looking for an option to kick to. He finds Milan. Shinkarik into the shin of Marty. Weisblatt had an early step in ahead of Milan and gets whistled for the offside. Rock Lobsters have to be disciplined here in more ways than one. Let's see what happens and what remains of the 14 minutes and 9 seconds of this game.
This thing on? Perfect.
Since 1968, we've been your trusted source for home comfort. From then to now, we've evolved, but our commitment to your comfort remains unchanged. Experience the expertise that only decades of dedicated service can provide. Trust Stanfield. We've been keeping homes comfortable for over 50 years. Your comfort, our legacy. Schedule online at stanfieldair.com.
There's only one place you can deck yourself out and represent Athens' first ever pro hockey team, the Rock Lobsters. Head to shop.rocklobstershockey.com to get your hats, shirts, and even jerseys now. Here at McMorran Arena, the Prowlers have their third lead of the game through Braden Simmons-Fisher. Still just a week away from the Rock Lobsters going back to Athens Ford Arena. A reminder to go ahead and log your interest in season tickets for the next season or renew your season tickets if you haven't already, going over to rocklobstershockey.com. Away we go for what remains of this third period. Rosenzweig watches one wide. Kolatarsi helps it into the near boards for Case and Gallant. Gallant, no lurker, into the route of Virgili, trying to just tip that towards Picard. Taken in over the zone by head coach Matt Graham. Looking for the speedy Millette on the far side. Couldn't find him. Picard into the skates of a Prowler. Virgili at least gets it out of the danger zone. Hooked on the Lobsters ask any update on Garcia and Greco. To my knowledge, both remain day-to-day. Poked back in by Millette. Hooked on the Lobsters asked, did they both travel with the team? I know Michael Greco did, as we see an icing here, going against the Lobsters. Greco is behind the bench today for the Rock Lobsters. He's played his part in the verbal altercations, backing up his head coach, Steve Martinson, for all the words that they've had sent their way. There has been a fight in this game in every sense of the word, whether it be the play on the ice, whether it be guys dropping gloves, or whether it be coaches barking at each other. It has not been a friendly affair by any means, but the Rock Lobsters are hoping that they could come out the other end of it with a win. That's looking more and more difficult as the shots on goal continue to grow for the Prowlers. That's number 29 and save number 26 for Rosenzweig. Moved up the glass, stopped at the line, but only temporarily. The Prowlers outshot the Rock Lobsters 14-6 in the second period. Russell with a close-range shot, saved by Nusiainen, spills out towards the far side. Incisive cutting pass goes past Demke. Picked up by Ronan at the line. Can't handle it cleanly. Lofted in towards the Rock Lobster blue line, up the left side. Handled at the end boards by Nusiainen. Shinkarik pokes it away from the goal scorer of the potential game-winning goal. Josh Rosenzweig showing the referees he has the puck in his hand. The Rock Lobsters have to refine that flow of their offensive game, which they've shown in this contest, but they haven't really been able to show it in droves like they have against opponents this season when you take into consideration the play of this two-game set here in McMorran Arena. Sent up by Johnson. Milan around for Glukaryov. Millette able to get there as the Rock Lobsters couldn't get past Brett Lockhart. We've seen a lot of these battles between multiple players against the boards. Milan takes it away. Finds Danny Dangles. Holding off a defenseman in the right circle. Finds a pass toward Shinkarik. Deflects out toward the far side. Extra step there from Lucas Lackney. Milan coming back on the back check, and it's just pushed towards Rosenzweig by the Slovakian. The question for me is, have we seen our last fight in this game? It remains a very, very physical contest. Little more than 11 minutes to go for Geely with a sweet win of the faceoff. Back to Virgili from Gallant. Trying to go to the slot. Gets blocked out. Back at the line for Russell. Off the end boards. Off the side of the net towards Gallant, who gets pinned in behind by Parsons. Icing against the Prowlers, and Russell will touch it first. Face-off going back the length of the ice. The Prowlers now with 9 more shots on goal in this game. They're in control. The Rock Lobsters have to use their claws to try and pinch that control back. Oja steps up, pushes it with his skate in behind towards his fellow Swede Thelstrom. Russell has to get on his horse. Icing is called there, and the Prowlers perhaps a little unlucky. Usually the referees have to make that judgment at the dots of the face-off circle, so perhaps that's where the Prowlers came up short. Pinballing around the face-off circle. Prowlers come away with it. Bouncing off the hit and sent in by Bucell. Rock Lobsters doing well at keeping shots not very dangerous against the Prowlers, but have been finding it difficult to generate any offense of their own. Alden takes a spill. Sent up this near side. DeCumbus not going to win that foot race against Shinkarik. Gavrilovic, the big man from Belarus, over to Shinkarik. Takes a ride around the end board. Stopped at the line by Gavrilovic. Sends it long. Takes a deflection out into the netting. We're going to a commercial break. 9.5 minutes to go. Rock Lobsters looking for another game-time goal. Classic City Flats is a brand new apartment community in Athens, Georgia that redefines luxury living, offering a sleek and contemporary living experience. Our impeccably designed apartment homes boast sophisticated interiors, premium amenities, and exquisite finishes, providing residents with an unparalleled downtown living experience. Classic City Flats is excited to deliver luxury apartments that set the new standard of sophisticated living in Athens, Georgia. Classic City Flats, redefining your horizon of living.
Every business owner who's built a business wonders about their company's legacy. What's the path forward after they decide to take a step back? At the heart of every succession plan is a vision that safeguards hard-earned success. This isn't just paperwork. It's your roadmap, guiding a business during a change in ownership and detailing how ownership transitions and key financial decisions unfold. This instills a profound sense of pride, belonging, innovation, and commitment, ensuring a stable future for the company and a rewarding exit for you. Let's forge that path together.
Player continuing here in the third period. 9 minutes and 32 seconds is what the Rock Lobsters will have disposable to them to try and find their third scoreline equaling goal of this game. Shot came from the outside. Dangerous play from the Prowlers. Still loose out in front, but Nusiainen gets something over it. Shot came from the Rock Lobsters after that puck was loose. How about that? You might see that Mateen sign right at the bottom of your screen. Big thank you to whoever's holding that one up promptly. Thank you so much. Weisblatt was able to get the shot off, but didn't tickle the twine past Nusiainen. Stuck in on the near side. Milan springs it loose. Weisblatt trying to get past the Prowler there. Stopped at the blue line. Prowler sent it in. Rosenzweig into the glove. Quickly pushes it back out for Shinkarik. Shinkarik with his head on a swivel. Falls back towards Shinkarik. Shinkarik right down Broadway off the end boards, picks it back up. Weisblatt helping out Milan. Milan bounces off the hit, tries to center a pass. Not a Rock Lobster there, but luckily it deflects right back to him. Shinkarik being held up there from the defensive position. Reggie Millette almost cast a spell on that one. Pokes it away. Does Josh Rosenswag. Centering pass. Only Kaysen Gallant is there. Gallant around Rosenswag towards Milan. Banked by Shinkarik towards Gavrilovic. Prowlers have played great defense in this third period. They have their game-winning goal as it stands, but they'd like to add on more. I believe it's going to be an offside whistle against Port Huron. Looks like it's going to be a too many men on the ice penalty for the Prowlers. Joel Frazee will go and serve. It's starting to get to that point of the game where you have to feel like it's here and it's now for the Rock Lobsters. They go to the quadruple P. They have a power play goal in this one, and they are down by a notch here. Prowlers aiming for the playoffs once again this year. They won the Commissioner's Cup in their first season back in 2015-16, but have not made it to the semifinals since 2019. Rock Lobsters trying to copy their effort, at least from their first season perspective, not so much from not making the playoffs for 5 or 6 years. Milan slaps a shot that is snapped over the bar of Nusiainen. Stick being held there. Shinkarik touching that one down like a soccer ball. Beautiful feed from Gallant towards Glukaryov in the slot, but he snaps his stick and he has to go fetch a new twig. Sometimes it's just your luck. Sometimes it's just the bounce of the puck. There is still opportunity in this game, though. You see the corpse of Glukaryov's twig there. Gallant. Back to Shinkarik. Milan. Shinkarik winds one up. Falls in behind Nusiainen. Less than a minute to go on this quadruple P. Glukaryov knocked down to the ice. And the Prowlers clear it out once again. The window for opportunity is continuing to dwindle, not only in this power play for the Rock Lobsters, but in this game. Kolatarsi, good entry from Weisblatt and a good move to get the puck towards the slot. Milan with an empty net, but Nusiainen still has presence from outside the crease. Kolatarsi, a save from Nusiainen again. That has been the best chance for the Rock Lobsters in this third period. You start wondering, if it's not going to happen there, will it for the Rock Lobsters in what remains this final 6 minutes of regulation? Bussell backhanded into the zone. Gavrilovic takes it away. Weisblatt picks it up on the near side, tries to fire something towards Nusiainen, gets blocked out, spills in back towards the near boards. Matt Graham, who has one in this game. Beautiful move to the slot, tries to take it around Rosenswag and can't. Good presence from both of these goaltenders outside of their crease. Rosenswag lets one spill, picked back in by Gavrilovic. Millette with a hit off the puck there on Alden. Heinzel can't control that pass from Millette. We have got a quarter of this third period to go. Millette over the line, off the pads of Rosenswag. Out of the trapezoid onto the far side. Parsons. Contact at the blue line, picked up by Oja. Demke at the red line. Rock Lobsters growing into this game and into this period, but is it too little too late? Time will tell. 4 minutes and 20 seconds left. Philip Vergili can't take that one with him. Shinkarik tries to bat it away. He gets tied up, but still gets a pass off for Ronan. Good push off there. Ronan and Demke surrounded. Another tie up here on the boards, and this only benefits Port Huron. Puck is loose. Slips out past Oja. Kolatarsi taking Shinkarik's place. Oja able to use his speed to recover on that loose touch of the puck. Dumped in by the Swede. Stopped by Nusiainen. That went over the hands of Oja. And it's going to be an icing against the Prowlers. We take our final media timeout of this game. The Rock Lobsters desperate for an equalizer. Will it come in the final 3 minutes and 13 seconds?
Farmburger is defined by its mission, its farms, its team, and its family. In 2008, our co-founders gathered around a single idea: redefine the burger by bringing together a community of ranchers, farmers, chefs, restaurateurs, and eaters. Our promise is to strive every day and with every burger to uphold these core values to each and every one of you. We do that by holding ourselves to a higher standard. Grass-fed and grass-finished, that means our cattle are never fed grain. Our belief feeds our mission, and our mission is to feed you.
Meet our professional team, where the best customer service is our promise. With over 5 decades of expertise, trust Stanfield to keep you comfortable. Schedule online at stanfieldair.com.
That's what's next for the Port Huron Prowlers. They take on their in-state foe, the Motor City Rockers. As for the Athens Rock Lobsters, their road trip continues as they travel to Baton Rouge for games on Friday at 8:30 p.m. and Saturday at 8:05. Then we return back home to Athens Rock Arena for a Sunday evening contest. 6:05 is the puck drop for the Rock Lobsters, who are looking for revenge against the Blue Ridge Bobcats. The Rock Lobsters down a goal here, and we're down to the last 3 minutes and 13 seconds. When do they start thinking about emptying Rosenzweig from the net? Rock Lobsters lose the puck. Threaded in from the right side, Rosenzweig with just a touch. That's all Kolatarsi needs. Kola. Right in on the pad from Nusiainen. Weisblatt can't get a touch of it with the skate. Sent long once again. Russell calms that puck down after it took an awkward bounce. The overtime word has been dreaded in this chat all year long, but the Rock Lobsters are hopeful for it here, one of the rare occasions. Shinkarik having to evade Lackney. Lackney has continued his point streak to 8 games today, having assisted Matt Graham earlier on. Weisblatt. Back to Oja. Shinkarik slaps it in. Rosenzweig to the bench. Nusiainen with a save, and we'll see if they keep Rosenzweig out here with a face-off. Rock Lobsters pull Rosenzweig to add the extra attacker. That means they need to play a careful game from here on out, especially here right out of the face-off. Now, some fans don't often understand why you add the extra attacker when the face-off comes. It's because that presence helps you try to keep the possession of the puck with the good guys. They're going to need to here. The Prowlers win it, but a whiff on the long-range shot. Centering pass. Picard out in front, and Nusiainen with a heroic save. Picard was out alone with the game on the blade of his stick. But Nusiainen, following the lead from Reed Cooper last night, has tried to stop a red-hot Rock Lobster offense. Picard showing frustration in his body language. Glukaryov now on in his place. Rock Lobster showing the benefit of emptying the net, but will that benefit continue here? Stopped at the line. Ozha poked into the neutral ice. Shinkarik will have to get that puck back. Been quite a long time since we've seen back-to-back losses for the Athens Rock Lobsters. A minute 20 seconds left for them to try and prevent doing so, as the long-range effort on the empty net will be converted into an icing by the Prowlers. This gives the Rock Lobsters a chance to change personnel in and out if they choose to, but they have their best offensive players out on the ice right now. Milan in quick conversation with Shinkarik before the faceoff. Prowlers win it through Graham, but Milan has it back, kicks it towards Ozha. Whistled once again around the end boards. Virgili with a pin in the trapezoid. Gallant has it back. Back to Ozha. Gallant with a backhander looking for it behind the net. Sent back in. Takes a bounce. No icing. Picked back up by Shinkarik. 50 seconds to go. Time running out. Shinkarik gets blocked out by DeCumbus. But Ozha there to help out. Ozha trying to protect this puck. It springs free for Shinkarik. It'll take a buzzer beater at this point. Rock Lobsters still have the extra attacker. 30 seconds to go of play. Millette in the corner. Glukaryov trying to sweep it into his possession. Poked at by Gallant. Milan being ushered away. 20 seconds to go now. Another occasion where these battles at the boards are benefiting the Prowlers with the time. Someone lost a helmet. They have to go back to the bench. So 2 extra attackers here for the Rock Lobsters. But now we see another occasion of that as the Rock Lobsters will have one. And that will do it for action here as the Rock Lobsters fall late on to the Port Huron Prowlers. It took another heroic goaltending performance from the Port Huron Prowlers. Last night it was Reed Cooper. Tonight it's Valtteri Nusiainen. He gets his 16th win of the year as he is now firmly third all-time in single-season wins for the Port Huron organization. The Rock Lobsters battled back twice from behind to even the scoreline, but now they fall for the second straight night, this time in regulation, as Braden Simmons-Fisher netted the winner on his first pro goal. A big 3-point night for the Port Huron Prowlers, and a little reciprocation there from Jamie Bussell as Justin Portillo waved the Prowlers off the ice the last time these two teams met on Athens Ford Arena ice. The Prowlers will salute their crowd, and we'll take a look at how this game went. Alex Johnson opened up the scoring for Port Huron. 11 minutes and 12 seconds into the game, they went into the first intermission with the lead, but it didn't last long into the second as Philip Virgili made his return from suspension on a great feed from Carter Shinkarik. But Matt Graham evened things up later on with a power play goal. Speaking of power play goal, Kaysen Gallant has been Mr. Power Play Goal this year. And he was able to log his league-leading 12th power play goal of the season to tie things up. It was another crucial third period, but the Prowlers were able to make the lead their prey early on in the third period and scoring his first of his pro career. The man with the NHL legacy, Braden Simmons-Fisher, 6'7" D-man, netted the game winner. Rock Lobsters were on the search for an equalizer for about 18 minutes, but they could not find one. Well, that does it for our broadcast here today. A big thank you to all of you who tuned in and turned out, whether it is here on the official Athens Rock Lobsters stream or live at Terrapin Tap Room. We appreciate you all tuning in. We'll look ahead at what's next for the Rock Lobsters. They travel to Baton Rouge to take on the Zydeco, a game on Friday, March 14th at 8:30, Saturday at 8:05, and then the Rock Lobsters return Sunday to Athens Ford Arena to take on the Blue Ridge Bobcats at 6:05. Make sure you head to rocklobstershockey.com to secure your tickets for that contest against the Bobcats right here and right now. On behalf of all the Rock Lobsters staff, for those of you watching at home and for those of you watching in Terrapin Tap Room, this is Mattine Rad saying so long from the Rock Lobsters studio. The Rock Lobsters fall 3-2 in regulation against the Port Huron Prowlers.